Soccer M and, of course, Football Daily's social channels as well. We'll be reacting to all of today's game. Now, importantly, our feature game we'll be covering is Huddersfield against Chelsea, but we will be across all the games. Joining me on the sofa, Clinton Morrison. Clinton, how are you?
I'm very good.
Good. And, of course, from Football Daily, Pato, our stats expert, Pete Dorman, and Joe Tomlinson has got his own sofa. Joe, tell us why you've got your own sofa.
Look at how wide this is. If I go this way, I can, like, fully lounge. I'm lounging today. I might go just horizontal for the games. But no, I'm basically going to be watching all of the 3 o'clock kickoffs, reacting to it, probably getting involved in a bit of your chat when you inevitably say something stupid, Smithy, which you almost definitely will.
OK.
So, yeah, basically reacting to the games, though. That's going to be my job.
And the 4 3 o'clock games are, Joe?
They are... I don't know. I can't remember off the top of my head. You've actually killed me.
We've only got 4 games. Of course, Bournemouth, Cardiff, Fulham, Palace, Huddersfield, Chelsea and Watford against Brighton. Also, we'll be updating all the big stories from across the EFL as well. Loads of games going on today. And, of course, we have live in-play betting with our mates at Sky Bet, which we'll be doing as well. So let's start off, guys. The start of the Premier League season. Clinton, how excited are you that the Premier League is finally back?
Very excited. I had a good summer. I enjoyed watching the World Cup, but you missed the Premier League. The Premier League is the be-all and end-all, and everyone loves watching it, and I can't wait for it to start. We had a good game yesterday where Man United were very lucky to win because I thought Leicester were the better team. They played ever so well, but it's about getting the 3 points, and Man United did the job. But, yeah, I am looking forward to the Premier League. It's the best league in the world for me.
Best league in the world. We've got to talk about the transfers. The transfer window is shut, of course, earlier than usual, completely done. All the Premier League teams done all their business. Pato, I know that you've been across all the transfers. Which team do you think has done the best business in the Premier League?
I think Liverpool have done some great business. Like, they've really resolved a lot of issues. I don't think Fabinho is a world-class player, but I think he's a very good defensive midfielder. Naby Keita obviously got that wrapped up last summer. That's fantastic.
You're a big fan of Naby Keita.
I think Naby Keita is one of those game-changing midfielders. He's incredibly good at progressing the ball, both through dribbling and passing. Huge defensive output as well, and he's going to balance that side, which they really needed last season. And Alisson as well. Paid a lot, but it resolves a huge problem area for them. The one thing I'd have liked is for them to get a little bit more depth up top and probably in attacking midfield, so they are going to have to rely on Wijnaldum and Lallana's fitness. That's a little bit worrying with Oxlade-Chamberlain out.
Yeah.
Other than that, lower down the table, I think Brighton had a really good window, and Fulham as well. Brighton brought in a guy who I think I'll probably talk about later because he's kind of my bargain transfer in Yves Bissouma, Alireza Jahanbash. They look like a club who kind of know what they're doing and they're finding little edges. So I think it was a really exciting window in terms of making the league much more level. Yeah. Like the mid-table look really, really strong. So I think if you didn't do business this summer, as I think Huddersfield didn't, could be in trouble.
Speaking of didn't do business, Spurs didn't do any business at all. First time ever since the summer transfer window started in 2003 that a Premier League club haven't signed anyone. Were you surprised that Spurs... We had this chat before the start of the show, and you made a very good point, that, which I agree with, that it's very hard for Spurs to attract players to get into that starting 11 because their 11's good, but their options on the bench aren't as strong as what's around them, are they? No,
if you look at all the other top teams, as Pat mentioned, Liverpool and the Man City, Pep and Jurgen Klopp, they're going to identify certain players that, like now, Man City have signed Morrison, so he's thinking he'll challenge Sterling and Sane and Bernardo Silva. Yeah. So it's difficult. I'm a massive Tottenham fan, so I was majorly disappointed that we didn't sign anyone. But our first 11, I think, is unbelievable. And we've got a few backup, but we need to progress and to try and win trophies, we need to sign more quality. So I was disappointed, for sure.
Joe, I've got to bring you in. Man United. You think you're a big United fan, as we know. Yeah. United's transfer window, not the best?
Our transfer window is rubbish. I don't think we got anywhere near the targets that we wanted, and obviously Jose Mourinho identified that he wanted, especially at the back. Obviously, it's well documented we got rejected or missed out on probably 5 central defenders in Diego Godin, Yerry Mina, Jerome Boateng. Yeah. The list goes on and on, at least, doesn't it?
Harry Maguire, Toby Alderweireld. There was
a
lot, wasn't there?
I know. Would you relax? There was a lot. I actually do know who we missed out on. But yeah, a little bit gutted not to have signed a centre-half, but I kind of agree with the club's stance. I don't like the fact that Jose was trying to go so short-term. I think Jose Mourinho is a short-term manager, and he was obviously trying to prep for the short term. Spending 75 million, in my opinion, on Toby Alderweireld would have been not a bad move, but a poorly managed move.
Because of his age?
Because of his age and profile. In the same way, it would have been exactly the same to spend 60 on Jerome Boateng, which is why I think United could have signed a centre-back. I think we have the money. Everybody knows we've got the money. But the club kind of felt like, are these options realistic long-term options for Manchester United? And none of them are. And the players that we want, we can't get hold of. Obviously, Man United have been chasing Rafa Varane for 5 years, haven't been able to sign him, so give up. identify someone else. The planning's a load of rubbish from United.
There you go. Very opinionated, Joe. That's what we like about him.
He makes
very,
very good points. And I don't understand how Man United, a big club like Man United, for me, still one of the biggest club in the world, how they can only want a centre-back and leave it so late to get a centre-back. If they wanted to do their business, should have done it earlier, for me.
Is it a bit crazy, though? You look at the Man United teams of old. Whenever they wanted a player, Man United tend to have got a player. If they identify something...
We could have got a player.
It crazy.
We definitely could have got a player.
They were linked with 5 centre-backs. And are you surprised that none of them ended up going?
I'm very much surprised, and I don't know the reason why they haven't gone, because the Man United board and all the hierarchy, they always back their managers, so I'm very surprised. And who wouldn't want to go and play for Man United?
This is the first time we haven't backed our manager in a long time. I think Jose wanted players. Jose wanted a certain number of centre-backs, and the United board disagreed with the centre-backs he wanted to buy. I think he was identifying players that he thought could win in the league this season or next season, and the United board are thinking more long-term than winning the league this season, because I don't think they actually believe Jose can win the league this season.
I think they're softening him up to sack him.
No, they are definitely softening him up to sack him.
But they made it hard for him to sign. They
can't get rid of him.
So that then when he fails this season, it's easier for them to sack him.
But then why give him a €50 million player in Fred? Why give him the whole summer? Like, you're essentially just throwing away a year because you're not ready to sack him yet. Why didn't they? If they really felt that way, they should have sacked him at the end of the season, got somebody in, and then run the window according to what that person...
But you're forgetting, we are being run by Ed Woodward. Clueless.
Also, at the end of last season...
Don't hold back, Joe. Just tell him how you feel.
Genuinely clueless.
He's my neighbour, Ed. We live in the same area.
At this point, it's worth mentioning, we're having a big chat. We're going to have debating all the big talking points throughout the day. And, Pete, we want the viewers to get involved in the chat. How can our viewers get involved in the conversation?
Yes, it is very easy for you guys to get involved, and we want you guys to be as involved as possible. So drop a comment or a question in the comments below, or tweet us at Football Daily UK or at Soccer AM with the hashtag #TheFootballSocial.
Yeah, and we will get involved in the comments. Right, our feature game is Huddersfield against Chelsea, and we've got the teams for you now. So, Clinton, I'm going to ask you your thoughts on the team. First up, this is the Huddersfield side. Hammer and goal, Jorgensen, Schindler, Congolo. Right full-back, I'm going to ask Patrick van Straten.
No, you go right.
You pronounce it. You pronounce it.
So I'm just going to
Guionage? Is that
it? You're not far. You're perfect, mate. Yeah.
No, Harry Murray, Hogg, Billing, and Pritchard and Mounier up top. Clinton, you look at that team. Huddersfield are many people's favourites, or a lot of people think that they'll struggle to stay in the Premier League. I think they survived by 4 points last season, their first ever season in the Premier League. Looking at that and looking at the business they did in the summer, do you worry for Huddersfield in the Premier League this season?
Yeah, I do worry for them, Smithy. I worried for them last season, but I think in Dave Wagner, they got one of the best managers around. I think he's brilliant, and I think it was only down to him why they survived, because I think when they went to Chelsea and got that ridiculous result last season, who would have thought that? But they press ever so well. But it's going to be Huddersfield's home form that determines whether they stay up or go down, because the fans there at the St John Smith Stadium, the fans are unbelievable. But, yeah, he hasn't really played... he's brought in a few new players, but none of them are really making their debut here. So he's probably gone with his tried and trusted that did well for him last season. So it will be a difficult season for Huddersfield.
Pato, thoughts on Huddersfield this season?
The worry for them is that a bunch of the really bad really bad players went down last year. Yeah. And so these clubs kind of drop out of the bottom and suddenly you're in trouble. Like, the clubs who've come up, apart from Cardiff, don't look like immediate candidates for relegation. Fulham and Wolves have done really good business. And even clubs like Brighton have strengthened really well. So I think that you probably have to put them in a group of maybe 3 or 4 who look like they're going to be in the bottom half of the table all season, along with Cardiff, along with, I'd say, Bournemouth and probably Watford. Those are the teams who you really worry about. And after a while with Huddersfield, in a way, David Wagner, by bringing them up, he probably has the right to go down with them again. You know, kind of like Eddie Howe. Eddie Howe has the right to get relegated with Bournemouth. But it seems a little bit strange that they've done nothing more than just make the Congolo loan permanent. That seems like an expensive move that isn't necessarily going to move the needle for them in terms of staying in the league. Yeah, the stats aren't great from last season. Huddersfield failed to score in the most Premier League games last season, had just 8 scorers in the Premier League last season, won just 2 of their last 11 Premier League home games. So interesting to see how they get on this season. This is the Chelsea team. As obviously, Chelsea, of course, been very active in the transfer market this summer. Kepa, the world's most expensive goalie, starts for Chelsea. This is their back line of Azpilicueta, Rudiger, David Luiz and Alonso. Then they've got a midfield 3 of Kante, Jorginho and Ross Barkley starts, which is interesting. Pedro, Willian and Morata, so obviously resting Hazard.
Thoughts on that team, Clinton? Are you surprised that they've rested a few players?
Yeah, I am surprised, but then I can understand why Hazard, he had an unbelievable World Cup. Obviously, he got Olivier Giroud. He'd probably be thinking, why am I not starting? Because Morata, I think, struggled massively at Chelsea and just looks like a centre-forward. He's got no confidence. But I'm intrigued to see how Jorginho does, and I'm happy that Ross Barkley's starting, because I think he's got unbelievable talent, but he just hasn't fitted into that Chelsea team of beforehand.
You mentioned the strikers there. As a former striker yourself, who would you play, Giroud or Morata?
I'd play Giroud all day long. Yeah, people might say I'm surprised at me, but
You've
I've seen
lost
Morata.
Clinton. Giroud.
No, but you know,
Morata,
listen. Let me explain. Giroud's a good target man, and you get crosses into the box, he'll score goals. I've seen Morata. Morata struggled. They're probably going to score a hat-trick today, but in front of goal, I think he's been poor. And he just looks like a person who's low on confidence. I think Chelsea should have bought a new striker.
These are the scenes at the John Smith's, live shots in the tunnel of Huddersfield and Chelsea. Aspilicueta captain, interesting. Joe, you don't agree with that then?
Nah.
The Morata-Giroud debate?
I don't agree that Giroud is the right man, but I actually kind of agree that Morata, I don't think, is the right man for Chelsea either. I just think it's the wrong place at the wrong time. I think he's actually a good quality player, Alvaro Morata, and I think he does have a future at an elite club, but maybe just Chelsea, the atmosphere, something not quite clicking there. But Giroud, for me, is a no-go in Maurizio Sarri's team. I think you're more likely to see Eden Hazard play as a false nine than Giroud up front. I think it'll be odd.
These are the live shots from around the grounds. We've seen the pictures from Huddersfield and Chelsea. This is Watford. Watford against Brighton, another 3 o'clock kick-off. We're going to be getting the guys' opinions and also their score predictions from all of these games. Tough ones to pick, actually, some of these 3 o'clocks.
Watford-Brighton, what a terrible game that is going to be. I mean, stay tuned, because our chat's going to be amazing, but Watford-Brighton's going to be awful.
Probably going to be a 4-all thriller now you've said that.
Two absolute relegation.
Next there is Craven Cottage. Fulham against one of your former clubs.
Yeah,
Crystal Palace.
This is game of the day.
This is game of the day.
This will be all the goals and excitement without a shadow of a doubt.
I think this could be a great game, actually.
It could be a great game.
There could be a lot of goals in this game.
Definitely.
I saw your smile when you saw Crystal Palace. Still got very fond memories, Clinton.
Definitely, and I still speak to the left-back. He's like my annoying little brother, Patrick Van Aanholt. So I wished him well this morning. And, yeah, he was saying he was looking forward to it. But, yeah, I love Crystal Palace. It'll always be my club. It has a good heart.
Patrick Van Aanholt was famously involved in Splashgate on transfer deadline day.
I loved it. I loved it. I messaged him after and said, well done, well done. It was brilliant.
Good job, Mr. Puddle. We can also go to Bournemouth. These are the scenes as the teams are out.
I mean, you want to talk about bad games. This is going to be it.
You think?
Bournemouth have a horrific defence, and they have done the entire time they've been in the Premier League. Cardiff are a trash long ball club.
Bournemouth-Cardiff is our last 3 p.m. game.
Kind of like they championshiped their way up from the Championship, and they're going
How
to
long do you really think Neil Warnock's going to last in charge?
About 45 minutes.
Oh, he's a man that you know well, Clinton.
I bet he sees out the season. Any money he sees the season out.
I'll have a £10 bet.
I'll have a £10 bet.
He does not see out the season.
I'll have a £10 bet.
There's absolutely
no way that Neil Warnock sees the season out.
Speaking of £10 bets, we do have some great incentives with our mates at Sky Bet. We need to segue that in. There you go. That's the link of the day so far. Football Social Accumulator. Now, what we've done is we've all picked the results that we think will happen from the 3 o'clock games, and we put them into accumulators. So Clinton Morrison, no surprises there, thinks that his old club Crystal Palace will beat Fulham. You always go with your old club, don't you? Crystal Palace, you have to.
Yeah.
Pato's gone for Bournemouth to beat Cardiff.
But I don't care.
Okay, he doesn't care. I think that Chelsea, strongly think that Chelsea will beat Huddersfield. And Pete Dorman's gone for a draw in the Watford versus Brighton game. Now, we've put all of that into an accumulator.
Agree with you,
and you can get odds of 28 to 1 with Sky Bet. So if you put a fiver on that, that would see a return of £145. Don't forget, you must be 18 plus. Full terms and conditions apply. All odds, of course, are live and subject to change. And to see current odds and for more information, go to skybet.com. And as I say, get involved.
Nailed that, Smithy. That was T's and C's. That was unbelievable.
Yeah, T's and C's. There we go. You'll also see on your screen we've got the title odds as well. No surprise that Man City are firm favourites with Sky Bet for the title. Liverpool, second favourites, 4 to 1. We spoke about Liverpool's business. Do you think Liverpool could be serious title contenders?
Without a shadow of a doubt, they'll be the closest to Man City. As Pat said earlier, they've done great business. And one player in particular who stood out for me in pre-season watching them, who looks like he could be getting back to his old self, and I hope he does, is Daniel Sturridge. He's been exceptional, and they're saying, but you know what happens, his body always fails him, and I hope he don't, because if the old Daniel Sturridge comes back, that's like a new signing, because he's terrific. He's not going to get in the front three at the moment, but he's good to have coming off the bench. But that Keita is a sensational player. I've watched a lot of him. He'll be a star in the Premier League.
Pete, what are people saying on social? Have you got any questions for us? Don't forget, we want you all to get involved in the chat. What have you got for us?
Everybody's just very happy the Premier League is back after a dry month after the World Cup. But just circling back to Chelsea's forward line, a lot of people are asking about Michy Batshuayi and should Chelsea have loaned him out? Surely he's a good player to have.
Good question.
Good question.
If Fury doesn't bang, if Morata doesn't bang, Michy Batshuayi, I think is a good impact player to have in your squad.
I mean, Michy Batshuayi's had a better Chelsea career than Morata has, hasn't
definitely.
he? Really?
They keep loaning him out, and he went away last season. He went out on loan and done ever so well, scored goals.
Dortmund,
Dortmund. And now he's gone on loan to Valencia. So the kid must be thinking, am I coming or going? His Chelsea career could be over without a shadow of doubt. If he can't get in it when they've got that calibre of strikers there at the moment, and that's not disrespect to Morata or Giroud, as Joe makes a good point. Chelsea will eventually go out and buy a world-class striker. So he's going to struggle. But yeah, I feel for Batshuayi, because I think he's a good player.
Yeah. Right, the 3 p.m. games, have they all kicked off, Joe?
They're all off, mate. We're underway.
We're a minute in. Give us an update. What do you see?
Mate. It's absolutely nothing happening. Yeah, we're literally a minute in, Smith. I don't know why you've come to me so early. But hopefully there are some goals, and these games are better than they look on paper. That's all I'm saying. Because, I'll be honest, there's some dry games here. I actually kind of want to watch the Chelsea game, so I'm kind of getting drawn in. I'm a little bit jealous.
No, Joe, this is not the point. We're all covering the Chelsea game on our feature game, so you need to be particularly across the other 3 games.
I will be. I'm most excited about watching Fulham. That's the team I'm most excited about watching.
Interestingly, Fulham,
can't wait to watch
£100 million spent, over 100 million, the first promoted team ever to spend over £100 million in a summer transfer window. I think they could field an 11 based on all new signings. Do you think Fulham will stay up, Clinton?
Yeah, without a shot. I predicted earlier, I was speaking to someone earlier on, and I said they'll finish in the top 11 without a shadow of a doubt. They're that good. I think the boy Seri that they brought in midfield, top player, Mitrovic, Morrison, I know he's not fit at the moment, but he's a class centre-back. They've made some brilliant signings.
And they've kept Kearney and Sessegnon.
Them two, because Kearney's a good player, a very good player. In the Premier League, it will suit him. You get time and space on the ball, and he's a good footballer.
You love Sessegnon and some of the Fulham business as well.
Yeah, and they went under the radar on deadline day that they brought in Andre Frank Ongisa from Marseille, who's a really solid defensive midfielder. Last season, huge defensive output in a team that went to the Europa League final, were competitive for the Champions League place at the top of Ligue 1. And I think he's about 22 as well, so it looks like he's got a bright future. I mean, these clubs that are coming up are now doing not just kind of good short-term business, but picking up players who will improve them immediately and improve them in the future. And that's got to be quite intimidating for some of the traditional powers who've maybe got a bit complacent. You know, Everton have a down year, Leicester have a down year, and they could get overhauled by some of these promoted sides.
Who do you think had a better window, Fulham or Wolves? 2 promoted sides, obviously.
2 great windows, aren't they?
I mean, Wolves getting Dendoncker on deadline day is unbelievable.
Yeah, Dendoncker, captain.
Brilliant bit. Traore's not bad. He's just his final.
Oh, I like Traore.
He's his final. He's
I think it'll be interesting to see.
He's amazing.
How Sessegnon does, though, because the hype about Sessegnon is so big, and people forget he's literally just turned 18.
Yeah, he's still a baby.
So everybody's expecting him to come to Premier League and absolutely bang. But he's literally just 18. It's a lot to ask of someone who was literally just turned 18, first time in the Premier League as well.
But then again, I mean, you can make the same argument about James Maddison. He looked excellent on his debut, I thought, last night against Man United.
To be fair, United made him look good, though.
Yeah, and Ryan Sessegnon, you know, his numbers looked really good. Underlying numbers looked
Look, he's in.
Goal. Oh, what is that?
He's off. I think he was off, wasn't he?
Oh, he better have been offside.
Can we just say, embarrassment this time? Everything up
this time's everything up. Please.
Just take the
wait, hold on. What? Look at this. No.
He did
Let me see here. He did ever so well. Pedro does well here. Look, Pedro picks the ball up.
Big chance for Chelsea.
Made me think he might
He's
be
not
off.
offside.
He's onside.
He's level. Look, it's a great ball in from Pedro. His first touch is not the best, but he's been flagged. But still, he doesn't know.
He doesn't
know. What do you think?
He does finishes.
That
He
was
does
what made me
well.
think he was off to hit.
But his finishing, my word.
Yeah, but you're playing at Chelsea Football
Except with
Club.
his head.
You
With his
have
head,
to be
it's incredible.
scoring.
Is he good enough for Chelsea Football Club, Alvaro Morata?
No, I don't think he's good enough. Not for Chelsea, who want to win the Premier League or aim to finish in the top 4 to be in the Champions League. No, he's not good enough for me.
I will take this fight. I will take this fight definitely with Alvaro Morata. I think Alvaro Morata is actually a fantastic player.
Last
season, 10 goals, 4 assists. So that's 4 goals fewer than Lukaku and Lacazette got. And nobody's saying Lukaku had a bad season. And when you look at expected goals as well, I think he was 3rd or 4th in league, despite the fact that he missed a bunch of the season with a back injury. Like he's consistently got great shots from inside the box. Everything with his head last season, he finished no problem.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong.
I think his first 6 goals.
There are some ones where he's had terrible, like the Burnley one was just horrific.
But that's the thing. I think the narrative is that the problem is the big glaring misses and
not
his overall performance.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, I think that the way he's spoken as well about his confidence would worry me a little bit. You know, like basically a couple of years ago when Zlatan Ibrahimovic joined Man United, first half of the season he also couldn't score, and everybody looked at his numbers and his underlying numbers looked great, and then the second half of the season picked up. But it was kind of helped by the fact that he said, I know I just need to carry on doing the same thing and I'll start scoring. Morata didn't say that. He said, oh, my head went down, my confidence went, I was really worried, I had no faith in my game, and that is a little bit troubling.
He's a nervous guy, isn't he?
But they're going to... But they
he
are
looks
going to...
like he's a big confidence player.
And they're going to attack more this season.
You're right, and as a striker, you do need an arm around the shoulder every now and again. You do go through spells where you're not scoring goals. Listen, I'm not here to slaughter Morata, because I hope he does come well and score goals, but at the moment he looks low on confidence.
What do you do, Clinton, as a striker in like professional football to get out of a slump like that? You have to experienced a few of them.
Good question, Joe. You have
not
to
thinking
keep...
you out there, but
no, you're
it sounded like such a dick,
no, but you're right. I've been in a few of those predicaments. No, but you just have to keep getting in. You have to practice hard on the training pitch. Like even if no one wants to. I always used to say, get youngsters out there, just whip up loads of balls into me and just finish by myself. Even when the coaches have gone in there, stay out there hours and hours and practice and keep getting into positions. The day you shy away from not getting back into the positions of scoring goals, that's when you will stop scoring goals again. So he's still getting in them positions. He's still playing on the defender's shoulders. So the goals will come from eventually. Yeah,
a big goal in a big game could change everything for him. But like, he's definitely got the ability, and his link-up play is really good. I still think he's going to be... they will attack more than they've attacked since the Ancelotti days this season, and that is definitely going to help all their forwards, not just Morata.
Yeah,
I'd be amazed if Chelsea don't... The next player they go for is a striker. In a big window, I think they'll go big.
Potentially. But I think
they invested heavily. They needed Drogba.
Was all right, wasn't he?
Yeah, Drogba was all right.
Yeah, they're also not actually like a big scorer. Like Drogba had 2 really big scoring seasons, and the rest of the time he didn't get over 20 goals. But people remember him because of everything else that he did.
All-round game, wasn't it?
He had an unbelievable record at Wembley, though. Like, his big game players. He scored in like pretty much all the cup finals, all the Champions League games. It was.
I think he did
only
only
get a big game player.
He did only once get, or was it twice, get over 20 goals in the Premier League.
Yeah, it was twice.
And the narrative is he's like one of the greatest strikers in Premier League history. So
definitely.
It's not always about the number. Sometimes it's just about the big goals you score. Like I remember Romelu Lukaku last season at Man United. I think him and Morata were pretty much level going into about Christmas. I think Morata was on like a fair few before he had his dry patch, and Lukaku also had a dry patch. But then think about March, Lukaku bounced back, and Morata just never did.
Yeah.
And it feels like that 6 months has just shot his confidence.
Yeah. I mean, I remember when United signed Lukaku and Chelsea signed Morata. Obviously, that deal got called off from United. You said you thought they signed the wrong person, and then United should have signed Morata.
I thought Morata would have been a better signing for Jose Mourinho, but it's turned out Lukaku fits his system nicely.
I think those would have fitted maybe a little bit better, but he needs a guy who can create something out of nothing, which maybe Lukaku's a bit better at.
Yeah. But I think we also so strong in the ball.
But we still have this idea. But Morata was as well. Like when you look at his performances at Juventus, he was man of the match in a game against Bayern Munich in the Champions League. I think that when you look. We still have this expectation that whoever's playing through the middle is going to score the lion's share of goals. And that's not really true anymore with Real Madrid. You know, it was Ronaldo with Barcelona, it was Messi.
Last season with
Liverpool with Salah. And so you've now got strikers like Benzema, like Firmino, and it could even be like Morata, depending on how Sarri wants to use Hazard. Where their role could be to facilitate, and he's actually always been a very good creator, whereas Batshuayi, for instance, is much more of a poacher. So it would make sense you choose Morata over Batshuayi there. So we still don't really know what they're going to do, what Sarri's going to do with Chelsea, and that will be determined by Morata.
Situation, though, he must feel quite hard done by, because he's had an all-right Chelsea career, hasn't really been given the game time.
Yeah, he
scored the goal that won him the league, you know, all of that, and then he gets shipped off on loan to Dortmund, on loan again. He's probably thinking, well, hang on a minute.
He's fantastic.
What more can I do? And give me opportunities, like give me a run in the team like you've given Morata a run in the team.
Has that ever happened to you when you've not been in a team, but you felt like your performances have deserved a place in the side?
Oh, definitely. Under Neil Warnock, and me and him argued all the time. I wanted to string him up in the office. And he
He's still backed him today, isn't he?
I still backed him today. I still back him now because I'm a bit loyal like that. No, but it has happened to me. I used to knock on the door and say, why am I not playing? I know 150% I'm better than that striker and I'll score more goals than him. Why don't you give me a chance? He's like, well, the style of football I play, you don't suit. You want to come feet and make things happen, and I want to play it long to the big 6 foot. But I said, he's not going to score goals. Goals win you games. And he wouldn't have it. And then eventually I got in a team, scored goals and scored 20-something goals that season. And he said, at the end of the season, yeah, you was right. And I said, there you go. Yeah, all right. And what he used to do then is have a clip of all my goals and show all the youngsters. I used to score a lot of goals in the 6-yard box. And everyone say, oh, you got lucky scoring goals. And he said, it's not luck, it's an art to be in the right place at the right time. Yeah. And he'd always show the young youth team players my goals. And obviously, me being me, I used to buzz over it, as you know.
You asked for a copy of the DVD.
Yeah, thank you, man. And I sent them to everybody.
You sent them to me, I think.
I think I did send one to you.
So what was Warnock like as a manager? Obviously, he's playing today, so I guess that's really good insight for our fans. What was he like as a manager?
He was when he first ever came to Crystal Palace. I said, this manager's useless. He said, put shin pads on. I said, why am I putting shin pads on? I said, we never wear shin pads. You don't wear shin pads in training. And he had a bag of balls on the halfway line. He picked 11v11. All the balls started from me. He kicked the balls in the air, and all he wanted everyone is to go and smash and compete. I said, that's not football, and that's not my style of football. When he said, you won't play, and then it got to a couple of weeks, and I weren't involved or I weren't training, and I went, nah, I'll put my shin pads on because I like football too much. And then, in the end, I knew what he was trying to get out, but his teams will always fight and run and kick. But I tell you one thing, the 4th officials this year are going to be struggling with him on the side, and he will be the first one to get a red card this season, Neil Warnock, because he does not shut up on the sideline. He is the moaniest, whingiest manager I've come across, but he's very good at what he does.
He did as well last season in the Championship. I remember him being a really moany manager. Who was he having a go? Was it Nuno Espirito Santo?
Yeah, when he talked about when he's shaking his hand.
That was an epic game, Joe.
That was brilliant.
That was a live Sky game. They had 2 penalties in the injury time and missed them both. And I think Wolves were celebrating.
Yeah, massively.
I mean, is that a bad thing to celebrate, overly celebrate? Well, that was what Neil Warnock was complaining about.
No, he's saying he was in the heat of the moment, and instead of shaking his hand at the end, he'd run around. But that's the heat of the moment. It's a manager. You get that buzz like that. Eventually, he tried to come over, shake Warnock's hand, but you know what Neil's like. Told him to get lost. And on certain terms,
as well. He
didn't quite say that. He told him to get lost, and his hand was there and kind of moved his hand away. But in the end, I think they apologise. But that's Warnock. In the heat of the moment, he loses his head massively.
So who do you think is going to be the first manager to go? I reckon Warnock's going to be in around there. Pato,
I don't think it will be.
Oh, I don't know.
I'm going to go Claude Puel.
Gracia is obviously a possibility. Like, whenever somebody drops in... The thing about Puel is I don't think no matter how bad Leicester will be, they won't go into the relegation zone, and that's what tends to make chairman get a little bit worried.
Twitchy, yeah.
I think that you'll probably see Gracia go at some point.
Yeah, Watford. I believe Watford. I think they'll struggle this season.
I'll tell you, if nobody gets sacked before Christmas, I think Mourinho could be the first without Christmas. It depends on United.
The thing is, United, though, United always see him out to the end of the season. Even Moyes got to the end of the season, Van Gaal got to the end of the season. They all go to the end of the season, and then they get...
Van Gaal got done before the season.
Joe, he won the FA Cup final.
10 minutes in, Joe.
Moyes took over, or Giggsy took over?
No, that was Moyes.
That was Moyes.
4 games.
10 minutes in, Joe. Chance for Fulham.
Yeah, it was a chance. But Fulham have started really well. Probably the better side so far against Crystal Palace. So they'll be pretty happy. Ryan Sessegnon pretty sharp. Mitrovic is actually causing them all sorts of problems up front. As you see, he's just had a chance there. It's a good save
there was
by
one
Wayne
before
Hennessy.
That, wasn't
Wayne Hennessy as well. Interesting that he's starting. So obviously they brought in a new goalkeeper, Guaita, who we kind of thought would start in sticks for them, but Wayne keeps his place, which is a bit of a surprise for me.
What's happening Bournemouth Cardiff? Is
Absolutely
it
nothing,
Barnstormer?
Absolutely nothing.
Championship game.
It is. That's a proper championship game, Bournemouth Cardiff.
That pitch is narrow though. There'll be a few long throws from Warnock's team into the box. I'm telling you, he'll love it.
No goals so far in any of the games.
Are we surprised?
We need a goal.
We do need a goal. The clicks at the moment are like falling. We need a goal. Somebody score a worldie.
Let's get an update from social media. What are people saying?
There's an interesting comment here from Alan Burke who says you all need new trainers.
What are you talking about?
I mean, yours are dead.
These?
Wow.
That is a beautiful
Hold on, mate, do you not know when you drop some ketchup on the bottom of your shoes?
Oh, wow.
As if he's just
Let us know in the comment section what you think of Joe's trainers whilst you're at it as well.
What are you talking about? That is a great trainer.
I like them trainers. I've got them in white, mate. So I like them. It's camouflage.
But other than that, there's a lot of people commenting about Callum Hudson-Odoi and that he's not included in the squad. He obviously had a good pre-season. He played pretty well in the Community Shield as well.
Is he not in the squad at all?
He's not in the squad at all. He's not on the bench. Ashley Toomey has asked how hard done by should he feel.
This goes to talk about Chelsea's youth team. Chelsea win everything at youth level,
don't they?
Famously, Jody Morris was there, won treble after treble. He's now at Derby, of course, with Shay Given and Frank Lampard. But they have such a fantastic youth setup. But the amount of people that actually get to that first team, do you think Chelsea are guilty of overspending sometimes when they have the talent in youth? Yeah,
definitely. And they send a lot of the young kids out on loan and they go and do well and then they come back, they think maybe we're getting an opportunity and then Chelsea go and spend again. So it is disappointing as a youngster because Chelsea have got a lot of good talented youngsters. The boy Mason Mount who's just gone on loan to Derby. He's a player. He's going to be a very good, big player. So they've got a lot of them. So, but Hudson-Odoi is a real talent. I know at times he struggled against Carl Walker, but listen, Carl Walker's the quickest and one of the best right-backs in the world, so it's always going to be difficult, but I thought he did ever so well, and he can feel hard done by for not being in it, but I think they've gone for a bit of experience in Victor Moses and probably Hazard's on the bench. Well, he's going to be on the bench because he's that guy, really and truly.
First goal of the day in the Championship. One of your former clubs, Clinton, Birmingham City, have gone 1-0 down to Middlesbrough.
You're going to be saying that a lot because I've had loads of clubs, mate. So you're going to be saying that. But no, it'll be a hard season for Birmingham this season. It will be a hard one.
Yeah. You think it will?
Yeah, I think. But I think it'll be a long season. But I think in Gary Monk they've got a very good manager.
Yeah. We've got to talk about obviously 2 Premier League games have finished. Joe, your Man United team, 2-1 winners over Leicester. Clinton mentioned it earlier, said they thought they were lucky. Did you go along with that? What do you make of United's performance?
I'll go along with lucky. I didn't think Man United were very good on the day. Don't get me wrong, there's a lot of players to come back, isn't there? I think Romelu Lukaku's almost a nailed-on starter in that side. Very disappointed by Alexis Sanchez yesterday. I don't know what you boys thought, but I thought Alexis Sanchez's performance was dry. It was somebody just lacking... I don't know, lacking like a bit of spark.
I think you could say that about 90% of United's squad.
Different player when it was at Arsenal, wasn't he?
I couldn't believe how poor it was. His first touch, his passing, was everything. Shot.
Couldn't get past his man. At Arsenal, he was beating his man left, right and centre. Never beat the Leicester fullback at all. And I thought Amati was the weak link for Leicester on the day. And he couldn't take him on a... I prefer Martial. I like Anthony Martial. I'm desperate for him to sign.
I cannot believe Anthony Martial doesn't play.
I'd have loved him at Tottenham. That's who we should have signed.
So would I.
Yeah, that's who we should have.
Anthony Martial wants to leave Man United. Toby Alderweireld wants to leave Tottenham. I don't know why that wasn't a swap deal.
Why didn't you do a swap deal?
Well, because Man United, this is what I'm saying, that our chairman and our board do not want that short term. Mourinho is happy to let Martial leave, but our board are going, we cannot let a player like this leave. Because in 5 years, it's going to come back and be a Romelu Lukaku or a KDB or a Mo Salah.
Yeah, but he doesn't want to play for United at the minute. He doesn't want to play under Mourinho.
He does. He wants to play for United. Mourinho doesn't want to use him and doesn't know how to use him in the right way.
There's a lot of reports saying he wanted out, wasn't there?
I think there's a lot of reports about relationship with him as well. I think he wants to play for Man United, but not for Jose Mourinho.
Yeah, exactly.
He doesn't want to play under Mourinho's United.
I'm not being funny. As a player, I wouldn't want to play under Jose Mourinho. If I had the choice and looking at that top 6, and I looked at Pep Guardiola, Maurizio Sarri, Mauricio Pochettino, even Unai Emery now, and definitely Jurgen Klopp, Jose, probably my 6th choice of manager.
But he's also such a weird manager in that he digs out his players constantly. Like
Pep,
Pep constantly builds up his players.
Exactly.
He builds their confidence. And Mourinho just digs them out.
Being an ex-footballer, that's a great point. You like to be praised and you like your manager to praise you, not dig you out. Look how he's digged out Luke Shaw. He turned up trumps yesterday. He had a good game. He played ever so well.
In senior football.
Just give the young kid a chance. I think as a footballer, you need to be praised and praised. If a manager keeps knocking you, your confidence is going to be really low, and then you know it's time to move. And that is slowly happening with Martial. He looked really grumpy and disillusional on the bench yesterday.
The thing with Martial, he either bangs or he sits in the fringes when he's playing. Like he'll either go 100% or no, or like 0%, and he looks like he doesn't want to be in the pitch.
His numbers were incredible last season, weren't they? Like in relatively limited minutes. I mean, this is the problem with Alexis. I think Alexis has gone from a team who have a possession attack. You know, like we try and pin teams back and just hold the ball, and that's also why Arsenal are quite, defensively suspect, because teams can break on us. But it meant that he got a lot of the ball in the final final third. At United, he doesn't have that. He's expected to get the ball 2 or 3 times a game
That's
in transition.
what I mean. He does his work too deep. Does his work too deep. He needs to be effective in the final third.
Yeah, but when he gets the ball deep, he ends up getting bogged down and turning it over with like a 50-50 ball. Playing for like a wee dink into the box.
Still, the worst player on the pitch yesterday, cannot believe he is still wearing a red shirt. An absolute disgrace, Matteo Darmian.
I knew he was going to say that.
What is he doing in red?
Really, get behind the team and all that, Joe. Another goal in the Championship. Switching up. Aston Villa 1, Wigan 0. So as Birmingham go 1-0 down, Villa go 1-0 up. James Chester, Aston Villa. Of course, Jack Grealish, still an Aston Villa player as well. Are you surprised Jack Grealish didn't make that move to Spurs, Clinton?
Yeah, I think he wanted to go. And the reports are he was really disappointed that they didn't let him go. But when you've got billionaire owners coming in and Jack Grealish is your star man, you're not going to let him go. And the thing about Aston Villa, which I like, and one of my old managers, another old manager, I told you we're going to talk about old clubs and old managers today, Steve Bruce. He's one of the best I had.
Yeah, you do like Steve Bruce, don't you?
Yeah, I'm glad that they've kept him because I think this could be the year if they back him a bit. Well, the window's gone, but he can still bring in loan players until the end of the month. If they back him, I think Villa will do well, and that hurts me to say that being an ex-Birmingham. But
careful what you say, he's an ex-Birmingham player.
As an ex-Birmingham, I know it does hurt me to say that, but I think Steve Bruce is a really good manager, without a shadow of a doubt.
Joe, we're still waiting for a few goals in the Championship, but no goals so far in the 3 o'clocks. Any close chances to tell us about?
Not a massive amount. Fulham had a free kick on the edge of the box, but Mitrovic absolutely spooned it into the wall. Fulham are playing some really nice stuff. High energy in and around Crystal Palace. Probably the most impressive so far. Wilf Zaha looks a little bit isolated up front, I have to say, for Palace. He's not really got a hold of the ball. I think this is him now. Look how isolated he is. He's just getting kicked up and down.
He's won that far, though.
So I think they need to get a little bit closer up the pitch to Wilf Zaha, get some of their midfielders a little bit higher up the pitch, because Andros Townsend's a little bit too wide for me at the moment.
Yeah, they kind of adapted to this no-striker system last season where they put Townsend and Zaha up front. And actually, it was the first time I looked at Zaha and thought he was a really good player. I've never really liked him previously, but he looked great at the tail end of last season. But it also means that when you're under pressure, you've got nobody who can hold the ball up, right? You can't really go long. You've got to kind of dribble your way out.
I think Benteke is playing today. Benteke and Zaha started up front today.
And even Benteke's game has evolved a little bit last season. He had an absolutely shocking campaign last year.
Yeah. That's another one. That's another one that I heard he was very low on confidence, but by all accounts in pre-season, he looked the old Benteke really sharp and stuff like that. So hopefully he can bring it to the table.
I mean, the old Benteke though was like 6 seasons ago now, wasn't it? Where's it? When he was at Villa.
Villa, yeah.
He was at Villa, and he just hasn't maintained it.
He went to Liverpool, struggled.
Yeah.
You would have thought he'd done well at Liverpool. Yeah, but you would have thought. Don't you think he would have done all right at Liverpool?
Yeah,
in that with them.
I completely agree. It's a bit like that when Andy Carroll made that move. Stylistically, it just didn't work.
And Balotelli as well. And went
it's
to
just
Nice
not been the fit they needed. And then they finally found Bobby Firmino, who is less of a striker and he's more of a link man between the two wingers, effectively, to get them into the game. So that's the sort of striker that's clearly working for Klopp.
So just speaking on that, Josh Agdam has asked who are the top 3 strikers in the Premier League right now?
Aguero, Kane,
Aguero. I think
Firmino.
are the two that stand out.
Yeah, Aguero and Kane. Yeah,
I think those two are head and shoulders above anyone else.
Probably Aubameyang then. Like,
I mean, he's still unproven though.
Aubameyang.
In terms of the Premier League.
I think that's always
Absolutely
nonsense. I think the idea of being unproven in the Premier League is
his stats don't lie. His goals don't lie. Aubameyang, he scored goals for fun. I think he'll score a lot of goals. I don't know if I have a third best because you can't rule out Lukaku. I know he gets a lot of stick and he can be better outside the box, but you ask any defender, they do not like playing against Lukaku.
I think goal scorer. I think Kane head and shoulders best goal scorer. I think technically probably Aguero in terms of his
Aguero's up there.
His
stats are a joke. Aguero for Man City.
Aubameyang I do rate as well. I think he'll.
That third one I'm trying to think. I like Firmino. He does a lot. He does a lot, but
love Firmino.
As Joe said, he's a bit clever. He can drop in the 10 all players at number 9. He's clever, so it's a good one. That is.
Put it out as a poll. Put it out as a poll.
Put it as a poll.
See if people.
You love a Twitter.
I do love a poll. I've been sleeping on the polls today, but there's an off the belt there of a commentator from Tom Mander who says, "Why have you singled out the ginger on his own sofa? You can't catch ginger, you know."
I know. It's actually rude, isn't it?
Kids are really like that.
I like that.
Thank you very much for the support, mate. Thank you very much for the support. Literally, I'm on a wide sofa. It's like I'm in a contamination zone. I've been quarantined over here. It's an absolute joke.
Joe, chance for Huddersfield?
Was there? I don't know. I've not been watching.
It was a foul. Yeah, Meunier.
Doesn't look like one, mate. I'll be honest.
Half chance. There's a goal, Joe, for Bournemouth. We haven't updated.
Oh, there's been a goal.
Come on,
I missed
what
it.
happened? Tell
I was
us.
too busy being quarantined. I was too
Frozen.
busy in ginger quarantine. But as usual, the stream is frozen, so still haven't been able to see it. I mean, this has been.
No, it's not
pretty
frozen.
Much, we're up. Who is it?
Oh, what a brilliant goal.
Who is that? Is that Lewis Cook?
No, it's
Oh,
Fraser.
it's Ryan Fraser.
Tiny
Wee
Ryan
man,
Fraser.
they call him.
Man, the little
Fraser.
wee man.
I first saw Ryan Fraser play for Bournemouth's F team against Southampton Solent University on a Thursday night, and he was so average. He was so average. So to see him play in the Premier League is an absolute shock. He's actually
I like
all right last
Ryan
season.
Fraser. Yeah, I
He's
think he's a
actually
good little
So
player.
describe the goal, mate.
I don't know, mate. Still haven't seen it. It was just a cutback and a tap-in, pretty much. There you go, 1-0 Bournemouth.
Here we go.
Yeah, so it's played down the right-hand side. I'm not sure who that is. Does well, cuts it back, edge of the 6-yard box,
Nice
tap in for Ryan
Callum
Fraser.
Wilson,
1-0.
I'm going for Callum Wilson. That was he was
could
down
be
the right.
Ibe, I can't
There
really
it is.
see
It's
it.
Wilson,
Too small.
13. Yeah,
Yeah,
Wilson.
Callum Wilson cuts it back
Horrible
to
defending.
Fraser.
Ryan Fraser.
Cardiff defence, all got invisibility cloaks on.
Who predicted
Simple
Bournemouth would
tap-in.
win? That's the question.
Yeah, Pato
So-
has called the Bournemouth win so far. I have to
Pato's
say.
called the Bournemouth win, so our accumulator is looking all right. Still early days, but there's no results going terribly wrong.
Huddersfield are playing well.
Yeah, Huddersfield are playing
Huddersfield
well.
doing all right, aren't they?
Really well.
But Chelsea are going to take some more risks at the back this season, I think.
David
which is why.
Luiz is going to take risks.
Yeah, I like David Luiz.
I did.
but
I
think-
like him. I like him.
I
do
don't
like
expect
him.
Marcus Alonso to stay in a back four, though. I don't think he
I
fits
don't
a
know.
back four. He's a good wing back. He's a really good wing back. But Emerson's much more of a Sarri full back, I think. But this is a great time for actually a lot of the lower table sides to play the big teams because so many important players are missing, right?
Yeah,
you've got to kind of think maybe we've got a shot.
Yeah.
So for instance, Arsenal, mid-table club, playing Man City.
Great time to
Great time to play them. Having said that, we'll probably get pumped. But I mean, still, it's not the worst time.
It's live on Sky tomorrow. Great day of
Hit that.
football. Man City against Arsenal. Another goal in the Championship. Norwich have gone 1-0 up against West Brom. Jordan Rhodes. West Brom, of course.
Where's he playing
Back
now?
down
Jordan
in the
Rhodes. His
Championship.
career's been weird, isn't it?
Norwich. I just said Norwich.
He was linked
really
everywhere,
bizarre
Jordan
career.
Rhodes.
Yeah,
You a fan of Jordan Rhodes?
He's a goal scorer. I think he needs. The reason Smithy ain't really gone onto the Premier League, he doesn't do enough outside the box.
Okay.
But inside the box, he comes alive and he scores goals. Give him half a chance. He's a natural born goal scorer, but he has to. It's always difficult as a striker because if you're not, when he's not scoring goals, you have to offer the team a bit more dip, and he doesn't do that.
He was so highly rated as a
chance.
young kid.
Here we go.
Chelsea
Here we go.
are in.
Oh,
Whoa,
what a
what
tackle.
a challenge.
Great tackle there.
Kondogbia.
Unbelievable.
That's your
way to
18
go.
burner.
That's why they've made the move permanent, Pato.
That's why. Yeah, that's why they signed him. He's got
It's
the
a hell of a
recovery
tackle.
pace. It
Hell
is
of
a
a
great
tackle.
tackle because William is quick and he was in.
Young as well.
Yeah.
Some
Still
guy,
0-0. Huddersfield
good-
doing all right.
Tom Kearney's picked up a little bit of a knock in the Fulham game.
Serious injury, Joe?
No, it's not a serious one, but I think Tom Kearney's an interesting one. He's playing in that 10 role, but that, for me, is potentially where Jean-Michel Seri does his best work in that 10 slot, or at least as a progressive
Is he playing,
midfielder.
Seri? Is he playing?
Yeah,
No.
he's playing.
Oh,
He's
he's
starting
playing,
central
but
midfield, so
I
he's
think
starting
Seri
a little bit deeper.
I think Seri will
Okay.
play a bit deeper. I mean, at Nice, they had him protected with, Cyprian, like those kind of guys, in the central midfield. So I think they'll play him a little bit deeper because Kearney had a big creative season, the one before last. I think he got maybe 15 assists or something in the Championship, really good. Less so last season, but what he does is he knits everything together, right? He's that kind of hub of your attacking play. So maybe Seri will be the one actually trying to create chances and Kearney will be the one who's kind of making sure things are ticking over.
Yeah, I think that Kenny will definitely start in that team.
He's a
captain as well.
proper, he's a
He's
proper
captain.
footballer. Yeah, he's a
He
proper
scores
footballer.
goals. The fans love him.
Love
as well.
him there.
They
He's a
absolutely love him.
good footballer.
Did they give him a new contract recently? Or
I think they did.
Yeah, they've certainly been talking about it for a while because there's been interest for a long
Last
time.
season there was a lot. West Ham, I think, were interested in him. There was a lot of big clubs interested in
Who
him.
aren't West Ham interested in?
Oh, yeah,
West
but
Ham
they've had
sign everyone.
but talk about West Ham. They've had a good
Have they had
summer
a good window?
spent. Really,
I'm
I think they've
surprised
had a
West
very
Ham
good
brought you
window.
back,
I couldn't
Clinton.
agree more.
Yeah, I think West Ham have had a very good window. I think the owners now they back their manager and the fans should be a bit happy. I think West Ham will have a decent season.
Well, we're talking about a
Good
few
manager.
goals in the Premier League, but there's 4 goals in one game. Yeovil 2, Mansfield 2. They've only been playing 26 minutes.
Huge game.
Already
Massive
4
game.
goals in that game.
Literally couldn't
Massive
tell you where
game.
Yeovil is.
What can you tell us about Yeovil and Mansfield, Pato?
Couldn't care less. Don't care.
Yeovil's
Great
down my
game.
neck of the woods,
And
boy.
Burton Albion have just gone
Yeah,
1-0
boy.
up against Gillingham as well.
Oh, Gillingham. I know where
Lots of
I used to live in
goals.
Gillingham.
A lot of goals
Terrible
in the lower
place.
leagues.
There always goes in the lower leagues. You know why, Smithy? The defending goes out the window. It's just attack. No, the defenders there, just to
But interestingly, your goal scoring record was better the higher up you played.
Yeah, but...
So what do you put that down to?
I don't know. I got older and the legs couldn't take me.
We won't talk
about the Exeter games. No.
Don't talk about it.
When he said the goal jar, I thought he was going to find out about the Exeter game.
I've heard about it. Don't worry. I'm actually from Exeter as well.
Okay. I saved one. It was a spectacular goal.
You saved it for the Sky cameras, though, didn't you?
Oh, yeah. 1 in 54, but it was unbelievable.
And it was the one live Sky game, can we just say?
And it was a one Sky game.
But it was
a hell of a goal. Over a kick. I did pull my hamstring when I celebrated.
Oh, wow.
Oh, dear.
What was it like playing in Tisdale, by the way? That was
brilliant. It was his gear that was the best. He always comes with his Ted Baker
vibes.
Loves it because he's good friends with him. He gets free gear. Yeah, loves it. He does love it. But yeah, he was good. He was good. Tisdale, good manager. Now he's MK Don's manager now. Yeah, Jordan. I lived with him.
Were you there when Ethan Ampadu was there?
Yeah, I know Ethan.
What was Ethan like? Because he's obviously potentially.
This kid is going to be big player.
Really?
He trained with us when he was 15 years of age. I had to say to the manager, how old is this guy? He said 15. And then literally he trained with us. After training, he had to leave early. After training, I was driving back home and I saw him walking with his rucksack with his school friends in his school uniform. Wow. I couldn't believe he just trained with the first team. He said, yeah, I just had an exam. I'm just on my way home. Such a humble kid as well, but unbelievable player.
Where do you think is his best position?
See, I thought he could have been a holding midfielder.
Oh, my God.
Holding midfielder, but I think he's going to be a centre-half at Chelsea.
Chance, Joe. Talk us through it. What game?
Absolute chance for Crystal Palace.
Terrible.
I don't know whether it's a save or it's hit the bar, but it's been all Fulham so far. They're playing brilliant football, but Crystal Palace have gone up the other end. I think it's Christian Benteke in the box, header, and I'm not sure whether he saved it or it's hit the bar, but it's a looping header. And it is very, very close to being 1-0 to Palace.
Is anything happen? Every time I look at the Brighton game, somebody's
injuries.
Just receiving treatment.
I know, it's unbelievable.
Injury.
Waiting to get a highlight of this.
Is Troy Deeney playing? Or
there you go,
something?
it's a highlight.
How's everyone injured?
This is the chance.
Townsend down the line,
Great
dinks
ball.
it in. I
What a
think
ball.
it's Zaha. I don't know whether he saved or it's hit the bar, but it's an...
That's a hell of a header.
Benteke gets up
under pressure from
just
two
above.
defenders. Amazing.
Big chance.
It's a great save, I think.
That would have been a
But
hell of a goal.
it's been all Fulham so far, so that was a bit of a breakaway chance there. So I actually think Fulham look really good. They're playing some lovely football, one-touch passing all over the place.
Palace coming back into it a little bit more. Though.
So hopefully Palace start to get a bit of a foothold, make a bit more of a game of it.
Huddersfield still 0-0 Chelsea.
Great ball.
Clinton, they were quite pleased with how they've started this game, weren't they?
Yeah, Huddersfield, without a shadow of doubt, they're causing Chelsea a few problems without any clear-cut chance.
Oh, he's taking
any
it off.
clear-cut
Chance
chances.
for Huddersfield.
And Chelsea don't look. Chelsea haven't been at the races yet.
Do you think it will take a while for the Chelsea new manager, new system, a lot of new players
See,
to see what they can do?
This is what I said, Smithy. If Chelsea knew they were going to get rid of Conte, why did they not do it at the end of last season? Why do it halfway through? I don't get it. I don't understand it.
No.
Do you know what I mean? Because he could have came in and worked with and brought in more new players and worked with the players into his philosophy, how he wants to play football. And that's why I think Chelsea have missed a trick there, because Sarri is a really good manager and it's attacking football, He will be a success at Chelsea.
Definitely.
But they couldn't afford. I don't know whether they couldn't afford to, or it's all about the money, wasn't it? Yeah. It was such a bad bit of timing, because obviously Roman Abramovich had the whole visa issue. Then he was kicking off about being in the country. Then Conte wanted out, but they didn't want to have to pay his massive release clause, or however much it would have cost to sack him, probably nearly £10 million. So they didn't want to get that done. Then they had to wait for Carlo Ancelotti to join Napoli, didn't they? That eventually happened, and then even when that happened, there was some weird period, wasn't there, Pat, where Carlo was there and Sarri was there, because Napoli didn't want to sack Sarri either. So it's just a bit all over the place, to be honest. It all comes down to money.
He had a bit of a shortened pre-season as a result, so it might take a while for them to get up to speed, but the quality of the squad is still absolutely amazing. Like every season that Chelsea have a kind of bad year, we look around and complain about the squad, and then when you really look at it, even for striker depth last year, Morata, Giroud, Batshuayi and Tammy Abraham were their options going into this season.
It's good.
That's pretty ridiculous as depth goes. When you think that, Liverpool, who we're all backing to kind of finish second, their striker depth goes Firmino, Solanke.
But they've got a lot of goal scorers, haven't they? They've got a lot of goal scorers in that team.
Sure,
Salah,
but you're going to have to play
Salah,
yeah, but where's their depth there as well?
There's a lot of goal scorers in the team.
Two of those guys get injured. What, you're playing
injured,
Shaqiri, Solanke up front? It's not
I think he'll be all right, Shaqiri, though. I think he'll do well there.
I like Solanke as well, but
in terms of money spent this window, I think absolute snip, wasn't it?
It's a bargain. I know a few of the Stoke players have had a moan at him saying he didn't work hard for the team and stuff like that, but he still scored a lot of goals.
Yeah, he scored half their goals this season.
Go!
Is that Kante?
I think
it's Kante.
Kante. For Chelsea, the ball comes across, a brilliant bit of work by Willian on the left-hand side, on the outside of the box, crosses it, back post, Kante kicks it into the floor, 1-0 to Chelsea, I think.
Amazing.
And Joe, there's in another game as well.
Is there?
Bournemouth
there
game? Is that a penalty at Bournemouth, Joe?
Against Cardiff. Oh, never a penalty. Doesn't look a penalty to me. The refs give it. It's a penalty to Bournemouth. I don't think it's a penalty. I think that looked harsh to me. I haven't seen him. Here we go. We'll see it now. Oh,
penalty for you, Joe? Yes or no?
There's contact, but I think he's made the most of it. What do you think, lads? What do you think?
Got soft. He's almost tripped over his own legs.
Yeah,
well, I played with him, and I think it's a penalty. I like the lad, Callum Wilson.
I'm going to back him there.
He's given a penalty, Joe. Talk us through the penalty.
Yeah, I know they've given the pen. I know they've given the pen, Smith. Thanks for pointing that one out. They haven't taken it yet, so... yeah, it's 1-0 to Chelsea anyway. There's one goal. This could be a second for Bournemouth, though.
So we're actually on track for our accumulator at the moment.
Callum Wilson steps up. He's missed it! Oh, it's such a good save, though. It's such a good save. I think he's an Etheridge in goal for Cardiff.
Yeah, you're right.
Such a good save by Etheridge. He's gone bottom right.
And there's a goal at Watford, Joe.
And there's another goal. What is happening? There's so many goals going on. It's actually ridiculous. Watford have scored, I believe. The home fans are celebrating, so it looks like it. Might well be from a corner, I'm guessing.
Here's the goal.
Crossed in from the corner. Pereira at the back post. Oh, my God!
It's a goal!
It's a screamer.
It's the goal of the season so far.
It's basically a corner from the left-hand side, played across the back post, and Pereira has met it. Imagine David Beckham's volley, but a bit closer in the box.
Oh, that technique.
It's an absolute beauty.
I think Beckham to Scholes.
Yeah, it's a bit like Beckham to Scholes at the back post, but slightly closer in.
For me, the technique.
Yeah, the technique.
Come on, you're being ridiculous.
Scholes has been
Have you played football?
Absolutely.
What's harder?
Have you? What difference does it make?
What does that mean?
Tell us, is that a harder technique than Scholes? With the cut in it?
It is hard. That is a hard technique.
It's sucking up to him. Yeah, but it's also straight at the keeper. Straight at the keeper.
The keeper could have saved it.
The keeper could have saved it without a shadow of doubt. The technique is really good, though.
Just ask Clinton if you want to be his best mate.
No, me and him are best mates. We speak.
Which is better. The keeper could have saved it. I agree with that there. But that technique
also, let's not forget Scholes is about 15 yards further out.
Yeah, it was outside the box.
It's right
on the full volley.
Yeah, and it goes bottom right, whereas Pereira's is in the box and has gone straight down the middle.
Scholes was an outrageous goal.
And Scholes did it more than once as well.
Scholes did it about, Scholes did it.
Remember the Scholes he won against Villa? The Scholes he won against Villa.
I think Scholes' goal was better, but let's not kill him here. The technique.
No, the technique's good. The technique's good.
No one would have said it if you hadn't brought it up. You did this.
I just think you
hope you're happy, Smithy.
I think the poor guy, Pato.
It's a great goal.
Killing the goal.
It's a great goal.
Give him some credit.
No, he needs to have a big season after Richarlison's gone, so I'm pleased.
Such a good goal.
Unbelievable
it really is
goal.
a great goal. If you haven't already, go and find it on Twitter. Somebody would have illegally
Good delivery from
It's
Holebas
such
as
a hard
well.
technique, that.
Yeah, it's just such a clean strike.
Oh my word, that's such a good goal. Could the keeper save that, do you think?
But the keeper gets enough hand on that. He should save that.
Keeps gets a hand to it. I think
Oh, is
Keeps
it
got
the
to
power?
save it.
Traffic though.
Yeah, it's the power.
Chocolate wrist by the
Yeah.
goalkeeper. Chocolate wrist by the goalkeeper. He
that.
has to save that, I think. Not overly convinced about that bit of goalkeeping. But anyway, so far the scores are 1-0 Watford, 1-0... No, yeah, still 1-0 Bournemouth, isn't it? Because he missed the penalty. And 1-0 Chelsea.
Poor pen, that, Joe.
I don't know whether it was even a poor pen. I think Etheridge is a brilliant save, actually, down low. So...
Oh my God!
How is it not gone in?
Going on in the last few minutes.
It's all kicked off in the space of 4 minutes. I can't keep up. I feel like I'm about to have a panic attack on the sofa.
He's great in the air, Mounier.
Huddersfield at the back post. I think it's Mounier, was it? With a back post header from across, hits the inside of the post. It just stayed out.
Willian is having an absolutely fantastic game.
Willian's playing
How
brilliant.
sharp he is.
Was it Mounier?
Yeah, it was Mounier.
I think it was Mounier. Hits the inside of the post. Probably should score. He actually probably has to score from there. He's not a great distance out, 6 or 7 yards out. Great chance for Huddersfield, that.
Loads of goals going in the Championship. So just update you quickly from the Championship. Aston Villa 1-0 up at home to Wigan. Middlesbrough 1-0 up at Birmingham. Norwich City, West Brom is now 1-1. QPR 1-0 up at Sheffield United. Stoke City 1-0 up against Brentford. And Swansea 1-0 up against Preston. So loads of goals going. And apparently Hull have just scored. They are playing Sheffield Wednesday away at Hillsborough. It's 1-0 Hull City. So who are your teams do you think will get promoted from the Championship?
I don't care about the Championship. I hate it. I don't know. I'd like Swansea to come back up, but only because they've got Graham Potter in, and they used to play great football, and I think that's a really good signing. But you look around at a lot of the other clubs, and they took short-term gambles in the hope they get back up. Like Villa spent so much money gambling on getting back up. Yeah. On the other hand, Steve Bruce, there's an argument that he should be the best-paid manager in the world because he gets teams promoted relentlessly. He just does it again and again and again. And that's the most valuable thing a manager can do in football, right?
Like Neil Warnock, the promotion thing.
Yeah, he's right though. Steve Bruce, he does get teams promoted. He's very good at doing that. So, but the Championship's a hard league to call, Smithy. There's so many good teams. Forest have spent really well this summer.
Derby?
Derby, I think Frank Lampard be good.
They're always the playoff team, Derby.
Do you know what? What he's brought to that team, I've watched a few games, pressing. They press ever so well from the front. So, obviously, you don't usually do that a lot in the Championship, but they press ever so well. So, he's trying to bring a bit of the foreign style into Derby. So, I think they'll do well this season, Derby. Middlesbrough as well.
Be nice to see Brentford.
Brentford, very good football,
especially because actually on the topic of Exeter youngsters, didn't Ollie Watkins come from Exeter?
Ollie Watkins,
he is sensational. He had an amazing season last year.
Yeah, he's unreal. Yeah, I played with him. I think Palace were interested in him in this window, and there was a lot of talk of him leaving. He can be what he wants to be, and I think he will go and play for a big club in years to come.
Do you think he'll play 10 or wing or second striker?
I always saw him out as a wing, but he can go inside or outside. He's very good. And he scores goals as well.
Last season, he was in the top 10 in the Championship for dribbles per game, shots per game, and chances created per game. And he's, 22 years old?
Yeah, exactly.
That is frightening.
No fear, he's got no fear.
I'm amazed no one bought him this summer. It'll be exciting to see where he ends up.
Just say I have no clue what's going on in the Bournemouth game. Lost that stream, so we're down to 3 games now that I can actually visibly see. So if you are concerned about the Bournemouth game, by the way, I don't know what's going on. But Fulham are playing pretty well. Despite the fact they haven't scored, Fulham are playing well.
Oh, my God. Chelsea are in a bit of trouble.
I'm telling you, Chelsea, the centre-back, they're going to struggle. I love David Luiz, but for defending, I think he's only better in a free.
Completely agree.
He's only good with a free. And the same with Alonso.
He didn't play at all hardly last season.
No, he didn't play.
Now he's starting. It's an area they need to improve defensively, isn't it?
Without a shadow of doubt, because they Chelsea, but I'd probably play Gary Cahill because he's probably more solid in the forward with Rudiger, because I like David Luiz, but I think you can only play him in the free.
Yeah, I don't think you can trust him.
You can't trust him.
He's rogue and he loves to go forward. And he'll go forward without thinking if there's any cover at the back, which then they get hit in the counter.
Yeah.
But Harry Maguire does that. He plays well as a 3 because he likes bombing on someone. He loves bombing on.
Quite reckless.
But the thing is, if you put a ball into Harry Maguire, he'll meet it with his head.
Yes,
regardless.
Oh, yeah, that is a big spam head, isn't it?
Spam head, that's my new favourite one. Let's get that trending. Spam head on Twitter. Oh, goal!
Another goal,
1-0 to Crystal Palace. Morrison, get excited on the sofa.
Yeah, Jeffrey Schlupp.
Schluppy's got it. It's a great goal, actually, on his left foot.
Well.
Just managed to spin the centre half from Fulham. Tight angle, actually. I think the Fulham goalkeeper might be a little bit disappointed. Tight angle into the roof of the net on the left-hand side. 1-0 Palace against a runner player, I have to say. They've had a couple of chances, but Jeffrey Schlupp gets his first goal of the season, and probably his first goal in about 200 games. He never scores, does he?
He never does. Really. You're right, he never does.
He actually went on trial at Man United for about a week, didn't he, Jeff Schlupp? But he just spins the centre half and then...
Oh, great finish.
Great
Is that an
finish.
assist
It's
for
a really good finish.
as well?
Yeah.
Nice.
That's not bad, is it?
He's always my fantasy football pick, Van Aanholt. Great. Yeah. Always gets goals and assists, and also basically has my name.
Well, I think the keeper's got to do a little bit better for me. The keeper's got to do a little bit better. I know it's gone in the roof of the net, but...
You know why it's hard for the keeper, though, Joe? Because he's hit it with so much power.
Yeah.
And he's about 4 or 5 yards, and it's gone roof of the net. If he was low down, I'd definitely agree with you.
It's kind of similar to the Giggs's against Seaman.
That's it.
He covered everywhere by the top.
It's a bit of a Hugo Lloris vibe, constantly beating his near post.
Kieran Carlin in our office, he always goes down too early and you can just chip him every time. It's great.
He's also really small.
Yeah, rubbish.
But yeah.
Nah, he's quite good. But
what are the comments, what people saying in the
Well, I'm just looking at the polls.
We can't really do polls because they probably haven't seen the goal, have they?
Yeah.
They've seen it.
Just circling back firstly to the best strikers in the league, it's actually 35% for Aguero, 35% for Kane.
So say that again. 35. Wow.
35% each, and then
I can see why.
There is little to choose between them. They're both fantastic strikers, and with regards to the goal, it's actually a lot closer than I would have thought. 54% for Scholes.
Yeah, because most of our audience weren't alive for Scholes' goal and don't remember it. If you haven't seen it, YouTube it.
I would agree that Scholes is better.
What a bit of play. Penalty, surely.
No way,
Penalty to Chelsea.
Pete Dorman's polls, which he loves doing.
Oh my, it's a penalty to Chelsea. Marcos Alonso has been played in by, I don't know who played him in, but he's basically somehow in the centre of the penalty area. Here's the replay. Jorginho into Barkley. A lovely flick by Barkley. And then, the defender, as Marcos Alonso goes to shoot, he just fouls him.
Oh, is that a penalty?
Yeah, no, for me.
Yeah, but he's died.
I think it is a penalty.
What's the point, Pat? Do you think that's not a penalty?
No, I do think it's a penalty, but Alonso kicks his foot. Like, the player's foot doesn't go to it, but I think...
But he does.
Here's an interesting one. Is Morata going to take...
No, Jorginho's taking it. If I'm a centre-forward, I'm taking that ball and you're not getting it off me.
Is this something...
2-0 Palace. What a finish as well. Oh, it's offside. Van Arnold. But it's been given offside.
Penalty, Joe, talks through the pen.
Penalty, Jorginho steps up, debut for Chelsea in the league, and that is outrageous by Jorginho.
It's a great penalty, and if the keeper goes the other way, it's the worst penalty.
Exactly.
Very calm. Sat the goalkeeper down. It's almost like a Panenka, but it just doesn't leave the ground. Just rolls it into the net as the keeper's sat on the ground, embarrassed him, basically.
The disallowed goal at Palace, by the way, is absolutely sensational.
Talk us through that, Pato.
It's so good.
Seen that?
Well, somehow Van Arnholt ends up on the right wing, running into the channel. He's running in behind the back line, gets slotted into him, and from a tight angle, he just smashes it into the top corner. But he is about a yard offside, so he doesn't seem to realise that part of his job is defending. But that's one of the things I like most about him.
You're right. I tell him that all the time. You're a defender. He says, yeah, but I love scoring goals. He said, the scoring goals, man, you know, everyone likes a fullback who scores goals. He said, everyone likes a fullback who can defend.
So you like him as a neutral, but if you're a Crystal Palace...
Yeah, you want him to be closer. Sacco must be doing his head and thinking, where's our left-back gone? He's gone on again. Yeah, exactly.
On the subject, before Pete got interrupted, two great polls then you put out, because one is 35-35 as a split of the strikes, and the other one was, there was only, what, 10% in it? So
literally
two great polls. If you think of any other polls you want us to put out, let us know in the comments section. Any other polls you want to put out?
No, I'm just angry. I'm just angry Morata hasn't took that penalty, Smithy. I'm angry.
You're angry?
I think as a striker, you're low on confidence. The team already 1-0 up. Grab that ball and say to Jorginho, for my confidence, I need to get off to a good start to the season. Let me take the penalty.
Although he took one in pre-season and missed.
He did.
Yeah,
well, so that probably is affecting him.
It's in his head. He probably didn't want to take it.
Arsenal game, is that the Arsenal game?
Yeah, the Arsenal game.
Yeah, he probably didn't want to take it. That's how low on confidence he is right now, isn't it? I mean, does this mean now that Jorginho is the designated penalty taker? Because if he is, he's coming in my fantasy
he's not.
team.
You know who is? Hazard, but he's not playing.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
There you go, it's Hazard.
On the subject of penalties, Joe, what are your thoughts on Pogba's run-up?
He's been doing that since he was 17, mate. There's a clip done the rounds on social media over the last few days. My voice wasn't like that. It was just Fulham nearly scored a goal. But, yeah, there's a clip been going around of Pogba when he was 17 doing the exact same run-up against Liverpool. So, been doing it for time. Don't worry about it.
A bit of a wobbly moment there for Kepa, for a record-breaking keeper, but
that's the one area
half-time whistle has gone.
Yeah.
Chelsea 2-0 up at half-time.
Deservedly so. I haven't really watched the Huddersfield game. What's been going on? You guys got it on the big screen. Have they been the better team, Chelsea?
These are the scenes at half-time. There you see Kante, one of the goal scorers. Chelsea lead 2-0 at Huddersfield. N'Golo Kante after 34 minutes. And Jorginho from the penalty spot just before half-time.
Smithy, before you rudely interrupted me then, have they been the better team, mate?
Yeah, broadly.
Chelsea.
Huddersfield have had chances.
Well,
They've
there
been
are
getting in
boos.
behind,
You can hear the boos for the referee. That's what Huddersfield fans think of that decision.
See, I think the penalty was harsh. Very harsh. Yeah, I thought it was harsh. Very harsh.
I mean, I can understand why it was given.
Yeah, I can understand why it was given, but I think
tough one for a ref, that, to be fair.
It is.
I think looking at it, he's made the right
Alonso
call.
kind of kicks his boot and then goes down.
But again, he has dived in.
Chance for Watford. Watford look
mistimed
dangerous from set pieces, man. Watford look really dangerous from set pieces.
Alonso
These are the scenes at Bournemouth. Ryan Fraser, wee man, 1-0 up at Cardiff. They go in at half-time leading. Quite a close game, that one.
Not seen a minute of that, so
half-time
don't know what's going on there.
Pereira with the goal of the season so far that we're all raving about. 1-0 Watford against Brighton. And the half-time whistle has gone at Fulham as well. It's 1-0 Crystal Palace. Clinton Morrison very happy about that. Former club go in at 1-0. So they are the half-times.
Fulham, for me, just from watching these games, by the way, Fulham, from watching these games, I think they've been the best team playing football in the matches that I've seen. Obviously, it's hard to watch 4 games at once, but Fulham's style of play is fantastic to watch. I reckon some of the Super Sunday games with Fulham, keep your eye on, because they are seriously sexy team to watch, mate.
A lot of people in the comments are saying they'll finish top 10.
Top 10?
I mean, that's optimistic, man. I mean, Fulham, anything above 15 for Fulham.
I'll tell you what's a good poll. Who do you think will finish higher, Wolves or Fulham? Yeah. That's not a bad poll, based on their summer transfer activity. Yeah. 2 promoted teams. Let's see what you think. Who do you think will finish higher in that one?
Roy Hodgson must be a pretty happy man to be a 1-0 in this game, because his side have been dominated so far. Let's
have a look at our accumulator. This is the accumulator we set out before the game. You can get on Sky Bet. That's 28-1 before the game. This was for all 4 results to come in. Clinton said Crystal Palace would beat Fulham. That is going to plan, as Palace are 1-0 up. Patrick said Bournemouth would beat Cardiff. That is going to plan, as they're 1-0 up. I said Chelsea will beat Huddersfield. That's going very much to plan.
Well done, Dorman.
And Pete Dorman is ruining it for everyone. We've got money on this. He's put draw, and it is Watford 1.
It's early days. That match is draw written all over it.
Don't forget, you've got to be 18 plus. Of course, full terms and conditions apply. See skybet.com. So that's all going to plan except for Pete Dorman.
Classic Dorman, man.
Keep the faith.
Keep everybody's fun. With you, mate. It's absolutely ridiculous. You've let us down. Yet again. Absolutely ridiculous. In fact, yeah, can we sub you out?
So just a quick reminder of the half-times. That is Bournemouth 1, Cardiff 0, Fulham 0, Crystal Palace 1, Huddersfield 0, Chelsea 2 and Watford 1, Brighton 0, which is only a game not going to plan 4-hour accumulator. Now, a few weeks ago, Jimmy Bullard, Soccer M's Jimmy Bullard, attempted to recreate a football-related Guinness World Record with a bit of help from football freestyler John Farnworth. Here's how we got on.
Are you joking? How you doing, guys? I'm John Farnworth, and today I'm with Sky Bet to set a brand new...
Whoa, John. You can't do this on your own, mate.
Oh.
You need me involved, son. How are you, guys? I'm Jimmy Bullard. We are here to super boost the start of your season to break a Guinness World Records title. Let's do it. Big boy! Are you joking? Oh my God! Come on, Jimbo. You can do it. Oh! Oh! What a strike! No! No!
We've done it with a Guinness Book of Records!
Yes!
Jimmy and John, you attempted the Guinness World Records title for the highest altitude football dropped and volleyed into a goal. Jimmy, your attempts were unsuccessful. John, you had 3 attempts, and I can confirm that in your final attempt, you achieved a total of 32 metres, which is a brand new Guinness World Records title.
Well done, mate.
Congratulations, John. You were officially amazing.
Thank you so
Well
much.
done, mate. Well
Thank
done.
you.
John, I can't have you beating me, son. It's time to take it up a level. Let's super boost this.
On your bike.
I'll behave, mate. Let's have a go. What's the point?
That's insane, that. 200 feet.
They're like bombs. John Boy, I'm feeling it. Oh!
No, it really hurt.
Jimmy and John attempted the Guinness World Records title for the highest altitude football dropped and volleyed into a goal at an even higher record of 150 feet. Now, John, I'm pleased to say you had a successful attempt, so you can keep hold of that certificate. Yes. Jimmy also had a successful attempt.
Welcome
to the Guinness World Records family. Congratulations, you are officially amazing.
Yes, well done, Ref, love it. You got to be over the moon joint with me, ain't you? Woo! Anyway, look out for 14 days of super boosted offers from Sky Bet.
Thank you very much. Always entertaining watching Jimmy Bullard, isn't it?
Ah, what a guy, what a geezer. I've got so much stories on him, but can't tell you.
Go on, tell us one.
No, there's none there. There's none there because they're all nightclubs. We can't do that here.
I'll tell you after.
Okay. Yeah, I'll tell you after. Kids are watching.
OK, good point. Very well done, Clint.
Yeah.
Now, Sky Sports have launched an exciting new campaign called #TakeYourSeat. Where there's loads of stuff to do down there, actually. You can go down there, South Bank in London, watch all the live football, plus there's loads of exciting entertainment for you to enjoy. So down there now, from Football Daily, is Olivia. Olivia, what's going on right now?
We're here at Sky Sports' Take Your Seat event here in London South Bank. We've spent the FIFA, haven't we, Zach? What have you been up to?
I had to go on the VR. It's incredible. Went to the Sky Q Immersive Zone. That was mental. I even went on the Soccer AM goal challenge thing. I didn't get top bins, but, you know, who's surprised? Not me.
We've been celebrating the first weekend of the Premier League, but we've been asking people who they think is going to win. Zach, who is going to win the Premier League this season?
I've got to go with Manchester City. They're just too good. Last season they were incredible. I don't think they're going to reach 100 points again, though, and I think it's going to be a lot closer. I think Liverpool comes second and only lose out on top spot by 6 or 5 points. I'm getting shouted at by Sam Obaseki. You guys know who that is. And also I think Chelsea will come third. Spurs fourth. Arsenal fifth. United sixth.
Ooh, a lot of people are saying that. A lot of people don't think it's going to be a good year for Jose Mourinho. But what do you guys think? Back to you in the studio.
Ooh, thanks very much. What do you think, Joe?
I think that's... I can't even call who's sixth. It's so tense. I think I said on the show the other day I said United. I think after yesterday, my opinion's going to stay the same.
So having watched
a bit of Tottenham today and a bit of United, I think United... Those are the two teams I think are going to finish outside the top four, potentially.
Tottenham and Man United.
I think the two had the worst windows.
So you think Arsenal are going to finish
City
in the top
are going to win the
four?
league. Liverpool are going to finish second. I think we're all going to agree on that, aren't we?
Chelsea third.
I'm going to go Chelsea third. I think they've got one of the best managers in the league and still got Eden Hazard. So probably the best player in the league on his day. I thought United was so poor yesterday. Really tough from here down. I think it could be either of Tottenham or Arsenal finishing fourth and then United.
Wow. Interesting. I'd definitely agree with you. Man City top, Liverpool second. Third's a tough one.
Don't you dare say Tottenham.
No, I
think Spurs finish fourth.
I think Tottenham will finish in the top four. I disagree with you on your own team. I think Man United.
I think United.
A club of that stature will finish in the top. I think Chelsea might just miss out.
I think Arsenal will miss out.
They got a better squad. They got a better manager.
Oh, I'm not sure. I like more.
They're bad. They're bad last season as well. I think. I go Chelsea third and then Spurs and then.
See, I'm a bit worried about Tottenham, but because I support Tottenham, I have to put them in there.
They're so reliable.
Because it could be Chelsea and Man United.
They're so reliable. Like last 3 seasons, I think they're the only team in the Premier League to finish in the top 3 every year. And Pochettino's so good at just getting what he needs to get out of that team. But I think really sixth, and anything could happen there really.
It's interesting actually in the comments. A lot of people are saying Liverpool will win the Premier League. They're back in Liverpool after this window to win the Premier League.
I saw some people on Twitter yesterday saying that Chelsea are going to win the league.
Well, I mean,
I think people have forgotten how good
top 3 on these comments.
I do believe
Liverpool, Chelsea.
It will be close. I don't think they'll win it by that many points. They won it last year, Man City. But I do believe Man City will win it. They're class act. He wanted that defensive holding midfielder. He didn't manage to get him, but still, bringing in Mahrez and the attacking options they've got in that team.
Do you think Mahrez starts in that team?
See, for me, I don't think he does start.
So 60 million on a bench player?
I think he'll be on the bench.
They have the signing as well.
I believe he'll throw his faith in Raheem Sterling.
Yeah,
and
I would.
I would as well.
I think he might start
absolutely.
the first few games because of Sterling's involvement in the World
Yeah,
Cup.
I think, is there any such thing
because
as a bench player when you're a club that are going to compete in the Champions League and the Premier League? Surely everyone's going to get enough minutes.
They'll probably all get 30 games.
It's got to be just a bench player.
Even a young kid, Foden, he'll get a few games, and I think he's going to be a hell of a talent, him.
Yeah.
Brahim Diaz.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting to see because I think they're going to try and phase David Silva out a little bit this season. Obviously, David Silva's getting no younger. Yeah, man.
He slowed down a lot for his age, didn't he?
Seriously slowed down.
Although Bernardo Silva has been massively impressive recently.
I think he's...
I think his age, he can't play.
He went back to Spain for personal reasons a lot as well. It's worth pointing out as well, I think.
Mendy's
but then you've got to remember, they've got Bernardo Silva who's going to come through and just start taking minutes off.
He looked unreal in the charity shield the other day.
David Silva, for me, is still the man. And David Silva and De Bruyne are the ones that I look at when you play Man City as another team that you fear.
And I'm imagining he will still play a lot of the big games, David Silva. But I don't think they'll need to use him
I agree with
all the time in every single game. I think you'll see Bernardo Silva come in. I think, like you said, you might even see Phil Foden get minutes so that David Silva doesn't have to play 50 games a season.
And Mendy will also bring along some cascade effects. So Mendy comes back in, it means that you can give Delph some midfield minutes. And I actually think Delph is a really good midfielder.
I think he's a good player.
So I don't know, the strength in that squad.
Do you think Delph's going to get minutes in midfield?
At some point he will, not in a big game, but you'd have thought that, you know, when you're playing
squad,
Cardiff away, you can play Delph in midfield, why not?
Pat, Smithy, what are you pointing at, mate? You've been trying to get our attention for 10 minutes.
At half-time, the Poitras that looks like is coming on. Very detailed analysis here. He's been on the iPad.
What do you reckon he's saying to him there,
Smithy? On the laptop. It's a lot of information he's giving him coming on.
That's just Netflix.
Exactly.
Still coming on.
What he's saying is I always say, why do you show players that, basically? Just get in the box and score goals. That's your job to do. You're a striker, score goals.
All we need to hear, isn't it?
Exactly.
Look at the background on that map as well.
Exactly. Look at the map. He's been there for like 5 minutes, mate.
He's been there for absolutely ages, receiving so many instructions.
Smithy, who is that, mate?
Huh?
Who is that?
Poitras.
Oh, we nailed it. Fair play. I tried to stitch him up there and he did me in. I respect that.
He loves a bit of stitch.
Respect that.
So he is coming on.
What a player.
And they've got a lot of work to do. I didn't actually think Huddersfield played that badly, but they're 2-0 down. It's a huge effort for them now to try and get back into this game.
Does kind of sum up what we said, though. We just feel like Huddersfield are missing that little something, doesn't it? Like we talked about it before. They haven't really signed the player that we thought would keep them up this season. And in a game like this, they've had a few chances. Obviously, the Mounier header at the back post probably being the best one when he's hit the post. Does a 20, 30 million pound signing, hit the back of the net there, and it's 1-1 against Chelsea rather than 2-0 down.
The analysis is still going on. This is amazing. The analysis is still going on. And there's a hug there. There's a hug from David Wagner.
No one cares about the hug, Smith.
So, Joe, I'm really intrigued to know how De Poitras plays in this second half, because he's had an unbelievable amount of pre-match, half-time, should I say, talk, and it's still going on. Just in case he wasn't sure earlier, it's still going on. Interestingly, De Poitras is the only Huddersfield player ever to score against Chelsea in the Premier League.
Well done to whoever fed that to Smithy for his earpiece.
Yeah, there we go.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
That was last season, wasn't it? It was last season at this same ground.
There you go, Clinton.
Yeah, I remember it.
I imagine it was last season because they've only been in the Premier League for one season. So it had to be last, didn't it?
Clinton tried to ease him with the
I remember the goal, though. I remember the goal.
Okay, Clinton.
It was a good finish at this end, at that end. I don't know what end that is.
Doesn't really describe the goal, does it?
It was a good finish. It was a header. It was a great header.
Or the head.
These are the scenes at Craven Cottage. You see Mitrovic there, Schürrle, a lot of their new boys. New signings, obviously Mitrovic on loan there last season. Schürrle playing there currently behind Joe, although you were very impressed with Fulham in the first half.
Yeah.
Do trail 1-0 though.
Yeah, a little bit unlucky to be 1-0 down, definitely playing the better football and had the better of it, but obviously a brilliantly taken goal by Jeff Schlupp. There's nothing you can do about a quality finish like that. Like Clinton said, it was such power that close. And the keeper, although I kind of feel like he could have done a little bit better, a little bit of Hugo Lloris to him. Soft at his near post, didn't he, Smithy?
Are there any good questions coming in, Pete Norman?
Norman, any got
Norman, you got any questions?
Norman, what have you got?
Well, there's a question looking forward to tomorrow. Tippy asked, do you think Arsenal have a chance against City since their key players are missing, coming back from holiday, coming back from the World Cup?
Arsenal's attack is good enough to beat anyone in theory, and Arsenal, even last season, Arsenal was very good at the Emirates, had the second best home record in the league after Man City. However, I think a draw would probably be a good result for Arsenal. I think what we don't know about Emery yet is how he'll set up generally, or how he'll set up against the big sides. We have literally no idea because he's been so.
How would you set up? How would you set up against Man City? If you were Emery tonight, looking at your team sheet, how would you lay Arsenal out?
It depends who's fit. I don't know the condition of the players coming back. So Torreira coming back from the World Cup. Ideally, you'd want to play him, right? He's the outstanding defensive midfielder.
Guendouzi?
I think Guendouzi's probably going to play. I really do.
I do as well.
He's looked good when he has played.
I don't think he'll start Torreira.
What about Liechtenstein? You can't play him at right back, can you?
He's going to start left back.
He's experienced,
unless you're playing very deep.
He's going to start left back tomorrow.
Instead of...
I think Monreal's injured, Kolasinac got a serious injury.
Yeah. But Maitland-Niles,
unless it's Maitland-Niles, I think I wouldn't be surprised to see Liechtenstein start at left back tomorrow against Man City.
Well, I think Lichtsteiner is, he's just a rotation option. But yeah, I imagine that it'll be Maitland-Niles because Emery's been talking about that, and he has a good record of bringing on young players during his time at Sevilla and PSG. Actually,
he's a good player, him as well. Maitland-Niles.
Yeah, he does look like quite a talent. I hope he gets some midfield minutes this season. But yeah, I don't know. I don't worry too much about it. Like in a way, Arsenal aren't rivals with Man City. Arsenal are competing for fourth this season.
Yeah,
that should be their goal for this season. Champions League, however they do it, whether it's Europa League, whether it's by coming fourth. So it'll be interesting to see. But I'm actually excited about Arsenal just because it won't be predictable like it has been for so long. Every season's been exactly the same. It's dull. So it'd be nice to see something different at the Emirates, even if that something different is getting.
You might get closer to.
Be interesting to see how long that mantra lasts. Game week 2 back to the
scene. Did you hear what I said? You might get closer to Tottenham.
You know what? Like we used to get closer to Tottenham by dropping down the table. So
I was waiting for that.
That was what we did. Look, I don't even think we're. Look, Tottenham. This is actually the first season in a while where we'll be rivals with Tottenham in terms of competing for Champions League places because there's no way they're going for the league, and Arsenal certainly aren't. So I don't know. It should be a fun one maybe. But a battering.
But in saying that they're not going for the league other than City, are Liverpool their only direct rivals then?
I honestly think Liverpool. I don't think Liverpool.
Because that's a pretty boring season. If
it's going to be a dull season in a title race. I think City are going to walk it again. I think Liverpool, as good as the additions have been, they still don't have a deep enough front line to challenge on multiple fronts.
And they're still more of a cup side, arguably, than a league side.
I think you'll be surprised. I think Liverpool will challenge them.
They'll be good.
They'll be good. I think it'll be neck and neck. But I know what you're saying. I do know what you're saying about Man City because they're a different class. Liverpool's so much different to them.
I think City.
It's incredibly unlikely to Salah back the same way they did last season as well.
Interestingly, a few odds that you can see on your screen now. Depoitre, we spoke about him earlier. Next goal scorer, you can get a 10-1 with Sky Bet. Don't forget, you have to be 18 plus. Full terms and conditions apply, of course. Willian, next goal scorer in the Chelsea game, is at 6-1. Chelsea currently lead 2-0.
He's playing really well as well. He's playing brilliantly, so it's not the worst.
Imagine this team with Hazard, and it's going to be exciting.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of talk linking Willian to United, and I actually really didn't want him.
Yeah, there was a swap deal chatting, wasn't there, Martial and Williams?
I really did not want that to happen.
Because of his age, though, not his quality,
more because of his age than his quality. But I think just swapping what is Martial, 22, 21? Like 9 years older, and Willian's 9 years older, and even though Willian is a superior player in terms of quality, his output's never been fantastic. I don't think he's ever got into double figures for goals in a Premier League season. Obviously, Anthony Martial, in extremely limited minutes, is very close, on the edge of. So I think it would have been a stupid decision to swap Martial for Willian, but Jose was super keen because obviously he'd worked with him before, experienced player, comes in as a player, he knows exactly what he's going to get out of Willian, doesn't he? He's going to get more in a way of defensive output than Martial gives you. But even then, I actually did a bit of research the other day about Willian's defensive output, and he's only putting in the same tackles and interception numbers as Juan Mata. And I don't ever see Juan Mata as being a defensive, like, he's kind of used as a wide man, but United, but more of a 10. I don't ever see him like a defensive 10, so...
But there's pressure as well, isn't there? Like, you can put pressure on players. Like, often pressing is just just about closing them down rather than necessarily making a tackle or interception, you could argue.
Yeah, it's like false pressure in that you're there. You make
it's not false pressure. Like, it's real pressure. Like, during the World Cup, there's been kind of advances with this stats-wise. So during the World Cup, for instance, we saw that, like, Matuidi and Dele Alli were two of the leading players at the World Cup in terms of defensive pressure actions. So not tackles and interceptions, but pretty much when they make a player kind of misplace a pass or whatever.
And Spurs
players are absolutely fantastic at that. They're incredibly good at it, particularly Ericsson, I think, who leads that press. So, I don't know, I still think he has a role. But Willian had one of those weird summers. It's like, you know, when you had that year at uni where inexplicably you were just doing really well, everyone was into you. And it's that Willian had that summer where everyone fancied Willian this summer, man.
Like, Barcelona, Madrid.
That's every day for me now. I'm only joking.
Best dressed man in football.
Best dressed man in football. Pat only said that. Big CM, actually.
Big CM.
No, I'm only joking.
But seriously, 70 mil for Barcelona and Man United wanted him. What's going on with Willian? Is he just the greatest guy in the world?
I know.
I don't understand. Why does everyone want him around?
I'd be devastated I couldn't get that move, though. I would have been trying my hardest.
Barcelona?
Barcelona would have been a hell of a move for Willian.
Yeah, play with Messi.
Yeah, of course, Messi.
Yeah, but what kind of minutes would he get in that front three, though?
I think he'd play because it'd be Messi, Willian, it would have been, and Suarez. Because I think Dembele.
But then they spent 140 million on Ousmane Dembele.
Yeah, but Coutinho will play in that Iniesta role now, won't he?
It's 300 million on Ousmane Dembele and Coutinho combined.
A couple of goals. West Brom have come from behind at Norwich. 2-1 they now lead. Both goals for Jay Rodriguez. Are you surprised Jay Rodriguez isn't a Premier League player?
Well,
no.
You're not surprised?
Joe's funny. But I think I rate him. I think he's a good player, but I'm happy because I want Darren Moore to do well at West Brom, and you need to keep your best players. I think Big Moore's...
I think it was a lot of goals in the
Great point. Yeah, Darren Moore, it would be good to see him do well, actually. Because he almost saved them last season.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it'd be fantastic.
Yeah, so you want him to do
Amazing
well.
run they had.
Yeah.
I think Jay Rodriguez will score a bad load of goals in that league.
You're going to put a bet on him to be the championship top goal scorer.
Don't put that bet on. Do not put that bet on.
Like it. What don't you like about him, Joe?
His fitness record is horrendous. If he completes a full season... If he completes a full season, he might well. But the chance of him completing a full season is about 1%. When was the last time Jay Rodriguez completed a full season? Didn't do it at Southampton, didn't do it at West Brom.
Goals to game ratio is fantastic. He scores a lot of good goals.
Yeah,
He scores goals in big games.
100%.
He has got injury problems.
He never plays. And at the Championship especially, because you're playing so many fixtures, it's so intense every game, and it's an extremely physical league.
It is a physical league.
You've been unexpectedly excellent today. I've got to say,
very much,
you've said some very intelligent things.
I really
Have you been saving up for a week?
I've just been saving up for it.
Intelligent.
Patrick doesn't usually show me enough respect, Clinton. That's it.
I'd say I show you exactly enough respect, just not as much as you'd like.
You might be right.
Yeah, you've been unexpectedly very good today.
Thanks,
well done.
Patrick.
You're welcome.
Norman, let's get some from Social Corner.
Is that Norman going to stick now, yeah?
Yeah, I think we're going to stick with Norman.
Yeah, the fans are calling Pete Norman.
The fans are calling you Pete Norman. You are going to be Pete Norman.
There's
a chance.
Norman.
Oh, why didn't he hit it? Benteke, you big idiot.
Oh.
Paddy Van Aanholt. It's a chance. What are we doing? Fulham at the back.
Goal, Joe.
There's another one for Pereira. Watford have just got a second here. Pereira's second of the day. If you've got him in your fantasy team, you are absolutely loving it now. He's got him in his... George Wright's got him in his fantasy team for Football Daily. Absolutely devastating. I haven't seen a replay of the goal yet. It's come in now. Oh, it's beautiful footwork by Decore, I think, on the left-hand side.
Clinton's just dug you up big time, Dorman. Because your horrible
Pereira comes in from the left-hand side, fairly unchallenged by the defence, and then just slots it in past the keeper. Again, not convinced about Matt Ryan's goalkeeping there.
He's a bit low, but there's not a lot. It's past him before he can do anything.
Yeah, but so was the first one, so maybe you should improve your reaction time.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
It's looking more and more like I've let the side down here.
I don't know how you improve your reaction. So that's 2-0 Watford against Brighton, 2 goals for Pereira, 2 really good goals as well.
We're going to talk about his hair, though, because it is...
It is a mess.
It's incredible, his hair. Can we get some comments on that?
He's a Povo
Pete Dorman, from a man who dyes his hair, what are your thoughts on Pereira's...
No, you are...
I think my hair is a complete league above
No, from this side it looks exactly the same.
It looks like... I mean, that's just rude now, Pat.
I don't trust you because you're blonde.
You're actually a B-Tech Pereira's haircut.
B-Tech Pereira.
B-Tech Pereira.
No offence to anyone who did a B-Tech.
It could be worse, it could be ginger.
Oh, wow. No, that was too fast. See, that was just underhand tactics by Pete Norman there. He actually heard it a while away, and he waited for it, and he waited for it to go quiet as well. So, but yeah, anyway, 2-0 Watford against Brighton. Looks like that game's pretty much done and dusted. We didn't say Brighton. None of us picked Brighton as a relegation candidate. Do we think Chris Hughton's actually going to keep them up this season?
I like Chris Hughes.
Yeah,
I think Chris Hughes.
I said in the office to you, I thought they'd struggle. And
you did, Smithy, mate.
You said, no, they'll be absolutely fine. I said, I think Brighton will struggle.
I mean, those words never left my mouth.
Zoned out what you were saying, really.
And they are struggling.
In the first game of the season. Well,
away at Watford.
Although
I believe you also said, Smithy, that Watford would definitely go down this season.
I didn't say that. I said Huddersfield and Cardiff. I said I think we'll finish.
So who's your third team?
Huddersfield and Cardiff. I think we'll finish 20th and 19th. The third one is tough.
Watford, you said to me earlier.
I think Brighton. My three, I think, will go down.
Are you changing your mind from Watford
Cardiff,
to Brighton?
Huddersfield and Brighton.
Okay. I actually think Bournemouth.
No, I don't. I think Bournemouth.
No, not Bournemouth. I think they'll stay up.
Cardiff and Huddersfield. Why do we think Cardiff and Huddersfield are just so far off it?
I can't see Bournemouth anywhere near it myself.
Terrible squads, and Cardiff's style of play is extremely long ball and quite agricultural. I don't think.
And you were saying that's Warnock's style.
Whereas Houghton actually does play really good football. And also when you look through the spine of Brighton's team, you know they've brought in somebody to replace Bruno, which I think was a good move. They've then got an outstanding young defensive midfielder in Yves Bissouma. They've got a really good creator in Pascal Gross, and they've brought in Alireza Jahanbakhsh, who will kind of supplement up front. Given that last season they were pretty reliant on Glenn Murray, which at his age is maybe not the greatest move. So I think that...
did he finish his top head of his goal scorer in the end, Jahanbakhsh?
Yes, he did. He was top goal scorer, and I think he might have been second in assists.
Oh, wow!
He actually
that stayed out for Chelsea.
Joe, talk us through this.
How
this
is that stayed out?
unbelievable.
I think the ball finds...
Acrobatics from Marcos Alonso.
Somehow the ball finds Marcos Alonso at the back post from a corner. It bounces, and then it's an unbelievable overhead kick off the bar.
Hamstring.
Nearly 3-0 to Chelsea. Clinton only ever scored one of these, and it was his only goal for Exeter City, wasn't it?
Yeah, and the hamstring went. The foot was too high, and that was high there. You got to know when it's time to call it a day.
How's Ross Barkley starting for Chelsea? How's Ross Barkley played this game?
I haven't seen much of Huddersfield, seeing as you're watching that game, and I'm watching the other three on my screen. So you'll have to tell me, mate.
I think you're watching Huddersfield Chelsea as well, mate. What's that in the bottom right?
That's a thing called the EVS, mate. That's what has all the highlights.
That's all the games?
All the different ones. So how has Ross Barkley played, Smith?
I'm asking you. You're across all four.
Look, he played well in pre-season, didn't he? He actually played well in pre-season. And he's probably forced his way into the reckoning of Maurizio Sarri's starting lineup. Obviously, Maurizio Sarri played a nice three in midfield at Napoli with Jorginho, Alain and Hamsik playing slightly more advanced. Alain, you'd think his numbers are going to be filled by Kante, probably an improvement there. And then the Hamsik role, up for debate. Obviously, they chased Fekir for a little bit. We're thinking about getting him in there. Ruben Loftus-Cheek could be trialled in there. But it looks like, from the first start of the season, I think Kovacic is definitely going to get in there eventually, isn't he?
Then Kante plays and Jorginho plays.
Yeah, so their midfield three when the season starts is going to be Kovacic, Kante, Jorginho. And let's not forget Kovacic at times at Inter Milan previously, before joining Madrid, played as a 10. So he can obviously do that role. A massive dribbler of the ball as well, Pato, isn't he? He's got unbelievable dribbling output. So I think he'll probably see that midfield. But at the start of the season, don't expect to see Barkley playing in the advanced role.
He's a fantastic ball carrier.
How's that for you, Smithy? Was that OK for you, mate?
Absolutely brilliant, mate.
No
Absolutely brilliant. And interestingly, Chelsea to win 4-0. You just saw there. Chelsea to win. And Morata scores at 12-1. That is a Sky bet.
I'd love Morata.
Both teams score and Morata scores.
Come on,
12-1.
please
Sky bet.
I haven't even tested
plus.
Kepa yet.
Before terms and conditions apply. Pete, what's social media saying?
I mean, there's a question here from Musam Sapa who asks, do you think that Kepa is worthy of being the world's most expensive keeper?
It actually says, do you people think?
Yeah, it says people.
It's a bit aggressive.
It is rude, isn't it?
Do you people think? All right, calm down.
Outrageous. Don't you know who Adam Smith
a bit nicely next time.
Exactly. Be more polite.
Should we give you an aggressive answer?
Go on, Clinton.
No. That's it. No.
Kepa, though, what are your thoughts, Pato? You like him, but overpriced?
He's very good. He's a good shot stopper and he's good with his feet, and that's the reputation he comes with, and being a little bit shakier on high balls, which is really the only thing Courtois was particularly good at. I was never a fan of Courtois, and I'm still not. So I think it'll be an upgrade in that regard, and he's 23 years old. But on the other hand, you look at, say, Lazio's keeper, Thomas Strakosha, who's 23, and I think is probably equally good, would have cost half the price. It does feel a little bit like, if they really wanted him, why didn't they shift Courtois early and go for him, instead of waiting all summer and then paying such a huge fee? They also could have gone for Alisson and actually paid slightly less. So it seems a little bit like a panicky move, but you know what? They've got a top-class keeper, and money-wise, Chelsea don't really care that much, do they?
Football's gone mad. Football's that much money for a goalkeeper nowadays. It's strange, but as you said, Pat, it probably turned out to be a good sign. But that is a lot of money, and he's still young.
Yeah.
They've got him from Bilbao, didn't they? So they didn't really know a lot about him, to be fair. I knew more about Alisson, and he produced. He's a very good. He must be a good goalie to keep out Edison in the Brazil team.
Yeah, definitely.
Because Edison's a top
I think it's just poor foresight in Chelsea's part, because Courtois is trying to be leaving for like a couple of seasons.
They knew that he wanted to go.
They knew that
he's been trying to force his way out. You knew that Courtois wasn't happy at Chelsea and wanted to go. So look at replacing him earlier. And also, it just seemed like a very knee-jerk reaction. It's like, right, we're going to spend 71 million on a goal in. It's like, they might have got Alisson earlier had they shown interest to him.
Because he went, they were then just caught between a rock and a hard place that they have to get a keeper in the next couple of days. And in that respect, then any keeper just goes up by 10, 15, 20 million, because the club that's selling him knows you have to get him in.
And it's always so hard to get a player out of Bilbao. Bilbao is the hardest club to get a player out of. Of course, they've basically got a penalty to Fulham. Surely, referees had an absolute nightmare. I can't believe he hasn't given it. But anyway, Bilbao is a really hard club to get people out, because they will only deal if you pay the buyout clause, because they can only sign players from the Basque region, so they don't need to take bids, basically, for players. United had the same problem with Ander Herrera.
But you also look at these signings in terms of like how the clubs are actually going to pay them, right, and how long they're going to be there. So if you were to buy a player who's 25 for like 35 million, you'd be paying pretty much 7 million a year for the duration of his contract. Well, if Kepa's there for 10 years, then over the course of that time, they're going to spread the money out in pretty much the same way. So goalkeeper-wise, it kind of makes sense that that's a position you invest heavily in if it solves that question for 10 years, which in Kepa's case, he could.
And goalies play for longer than outfield.
Yeah, exactly.
There's an interesting question here from Fearless Freer. He says, if Kepa is 70 million, then how much is De Gea worth?
Oh, dread to think.
Yeah, I was going to say
dread to think.
150?
God knows.
After the World Cup, I would have said it probably went down 4 million. But after yesterday, again, his performance, I thought one save against that Madison save was an unbelievable strong hand. And people say he could have done better with the last goal. I don't think he can. I think Eric Bailly's got to go and win the header. And
the ball shouldn't be getting to that back post.
It shouldn't be getting to the back post. There's no way.
And it's a good reaction.
He's a top goalkeeper, David De Gea. The best for me, anyway.
Yeah.
Don't know, maybe...
great play from Morata.
Maybe 150 million on his day.
But you look,
150 mil for a keeper is mental.
But you look at last season, you know, he saved United, like, according to expected goals, saved about 15 goals.
And the points he got...
it's going to be about 15 to 20 points. And that's a huge difference. You know, now, don't get me wrong, I'm not sure he'll have that season again, purely because the greatest season of a great goalkeeper's career, it's unlikely they'll replicate it. But... I don't know. He can make the difference. He's made the difference before for United between no Champions League and Champions League. He's done that routinely, and that's worth an awful lot.
Did he get Player of the Year last season again?
Should have done.
I'm not
sure.
If he
did, that would have been 2 years in a row, and the goalkeeper keep getting a Player of the Year. It's a bit straight. You're doing too much defending, aren't you?
That's definitely.
They need to buy a defender, really.
Exactly.
I think we've established that Man needs to buy a defender.
He could have been a shout, honestly, for Player of the Season last year. Like, I think I would have gone Salah. I would have put Salah, De Bruyne, and De Gea as the 3 best players in the Premier League last season. Genuinely.
Yeah, and they never get in the reckoning, do they?
Goalkeepers never do. I agree.
They never get in the reckoning.
This could be a goal here.
Lot going on in Palace.
David Luiz.
Palace Fulham game, lot going on. Was that a penalty for you? Fulham should have had earlier.
There's some really good chances going on in the Fulham Palace game. Zaha just had a great chance, one-on-one, but a really good save, actually.
Good save.
A long barrier.
Previously, at the other end, Schürrle looked like he was fouled by a really clumsy tackle from Mamadou Sakho at the back, and I actually think it probably should have been a penalty. I haven't seen a slow-mo replay of it yet, but it looks so clumsy, and I cannot...
Did you say it was clumsy, Joe?
Here you go. This is the replay, bottom right.
I know
that's outrageous.
And Sakho is clumsy, so you're all right. I thought it was a penalty. When I saw it,
that's a penalty. In real time, this looked a penalty.
And why is he going to ground?
I don't know why Mamadou Sakho's going to ground.
Stand up. You don't need to go to ground.
Very clumsy, and Palace big time lucky to get away with no penalty.
What a shock.
His first touch is trying to turn him, so if he just stays on his feet and bodies him out,
you'll get it.
Simpleton.
I think
that's a defender who don't want to move his feet.
Why is he down
chance. There's another chance for Fulham. Good save by Wayne.
Palace is a great game.
Loads of quality on the pitch.
That is the best game so far. But I think it's Mitrovic this time. A low diving header. Fairly comfortable for Wayne Hennessy in the end, but Fulham piling on the pressure a little bit, and Palace are basically playing on the breakaway, using Wilf Zaha's pace on the counter-attack. So Benteke is struggling a little bit, I'll be honest, to keep pace.
Is he struggling, Joe?
He's struggling a little bit. I'm not his biggest fan. I'm not Big Ben's biggest fan, I'll put it that way.
Big Ben.
So 65 minutes gone, the scores. Bournemouth will lead Cardiff currently 1-0. Goal from Ryan Fraser. Fulham still trail from that Jeffrey Schlupp goal to Chris from the penalty spot, and Watford 2-0 up against Brighton. Pereira leading the chase for the Golden Boot. What did you get on that?
Chance goal! Oh my God, has it stayed out? I can't believe it stayed out for Cardiff. Cardiff, very unlucky, yeah. Classic Neil Warnock.
Actually, is a long throw.
Long throw, back post.
I told you predicted it. Long throw
from the left-hand side, hits the back post, headed back across, and then an overhead kick. Bournemouth up the other end now. But yeah, there's an overhead kick and cleared off the line, but it's really close there to being 1-1 in the Bournemouth-Cardiff game.
Cheers, Joe. Chelsea to win 3-1 instantly. My pleasure. Chelsea to win 3-1. You can get 10-1 with Sky Bet on that. Chelsea currently leading 2-0. 3-1 is at 10-1 odds. Of course, you've got to be 18 plus. Full terms and conditions apply. Any hope for Huddersfield in this game, Clinton?
Nah, Chelsea look class. They look a class apart, and Chelsea just look like they're in second gear at the moment. They can go up whenever they want. As we said earlier on, I think Huddersfield are going to struggle massively. Yeah. If you don't score enough, and it's good to see Loftus-Cheek coming on now.
Yeah, this is good to see. This
It is good because it seems like the manager he's going to back him and give him a bit of game time, and hopefully he can come on and do the business. Because I thought he did well at the World Cup in the summer, and I think Palace, my team last season gave him a good platform. He played a lot of games and just burst onto the scene. But in terms of how he is, I say he's like a Rolls Royce. The way he can move through the gears with the ball, he's a class above, and hopefully he can stay fit and have a good season for Chelsea.
Yeah, he's come on for Ross Barkley. Ruben Loftus-Cheek still lead 2-0.
I'm surprised Ruben Loftus-Cheek is staying at the club, for me. I think Ruben Loftus-Cheek should have left.
Yeah.
I think he had to leave this summer. I think in a similar way to Bakayoko has to leave, he should have left this summer. Especially when they sign Mateo Kovacic. He's going to get no game time, again.
No, I agree with you there, Jock, but don't you not think he'll be the backup for them three then? And they can't.
But you've got... if you look at this, look at that midfield, you've got N'Golo Kante, Jorginho, then you've got Kovacic has come in, you've got Bakayoko, Danny Drinkwater, Ross Barkley.
Yeah, I don't think Drinkwater will be... I thought they tried to get rid of him. I think they might go on loan to a foreign team in this window.
Bakayoko, that's a good shout, I think.
Yeah, Bakayoko, I think, is going to...
But even
AC Milan.
Surely he won't be at Chelsea at the end of
I think he's going to AC Milan.
I worry about that.
But even if he does leave, where does Ruben Loftus-Cheek play ahead of Ross? Clearly, Ross Barkley's being favoured ahead of him. And he's not going to get game time ahead of Kovacic. He's at least fourth choice in the midfield.
I think the amount of games Chelsea have this season, I think there'll be games on it.
I think there'll be enough game time, but I would tell you what I would have done. I'd just brought him back to Crystal Palace.
20 minutes ahead.
Smithy, without a shadow of that. The Palace fans absolutely adored him.
I bet, yeah.
It was
good season.
amazing.
But like, would you be happy, Clinton, as a professional footballer, only playing Europa League games?
No, I wouldn't be happy. I agree with you, Joe. You make a good point. A lot of footballers nowadays are happy to just sit on the bench.
Yeah.
No, I'm not happy to sit on the bench and pick up my money. I want to be out there
Especially
playing. I enjoy the game.
What do you think Ruben Loftus-Cheek is like? You said some players are happy that
I don't think he's like that.
What do you think he's like?
I think he wants to play football. I think he's had the taste of playing Premier League football last season with Crystal Palace. He wants to play, but he believes in his ability. That's probably why he stayed there. And
also, for a player that's
his way in.
trying to force his way into the England team and did play well and featured for England, playing first-team football is huge.
Of course, it's
if he wants to become an England regular, surely.
Yeah, that's a great point, because without a shadow of that, he wants to be a regular, so he has to play, but he's obviously backed himself. Or Chelsea probably didn't want to let him go. I bet there was loads of inquiries for him, but if they want to keep him, did he sign a new deal? Well, I think he did sign a new deal. He's got probably 2 or 3 years left on his contract at Chelsea, so he's still got a lot of years there. I think he'll be a superstar for Chelsea.
He came out and said that he wanted to stay and fight for his place, but I think he could be being a wee bit too proud there.
Yeah.
You've got to admire you've got to admire, but also you've got to think of it. He could be loaned out, say back to Palace or somewhere where he will play week in, week out. The team will be built around him. And then he actually could play in 90 minutes a week and develop in the way he should.
Go and play for Crystal Palace in the Premier League.
No chance.
Go and get your minutes under your belt. At least you're playing every single week. Like you said, you're a fan favourite. Why not go back to Palace?
When you look at Sarri's record as well, he's terrible at this.
Sarri never rotates players.
Yeah, exactly. Last season, he had incredibly talented youngsters in Zielinski and Rogue, in Diawara, in Unai, and he just plays the same 11. I think Marco Rogue got 200 or 300 minutes last season. Zielinski got under 1,000. These are some of the best young central midfielders around, and they were getting virtually no minutes because he just wanted to stick with his first 11. And Chelsea have been like that for a while now, because Conte was just the same. If you're at a club where the manager's not going to rotate, you're not going to get your minutes, and you've got to do what's best, not just for this year, but for your future as a whole.
Yeah, and Mourinho in his season he won the title as well.
Yeah.
I remember that Chelsea team that he won that title in. Was it 2013, 14? Was it?
No, 13-14 was City. 14-15.
14-15.
Yeah.
He never changed his team at all. It was the same 11, and he had no injuries the whole season.
The spine is the same the whole time.
Exactly the same team.
Yeah.
Right, let's do a quick roundup of the Championship, because there have been goals galore in the Championship today. Aston Villa, Wigan is now 2-2. Blackburn Millwall is one of the few games without a goal. That's still 0-0. Bolton are 2-1 up against Bristol City. Middlesbrough 1-0 against Birmingham City. Norwich were 1-0 up against West Brom. That is now Norwich 1, West Bromwich Albion 3. Norwich have just scored, I've been told, so it's now Norwich 2, West Brom 3. Game of the day so far in the Championship. Nottingham Forest 0, Reading 0. Queen's Park Rangers 1, Sheffield United 2. Another goalless draw so far. Rotherham 0, Ipswich 0. Sheffield Wednesday and Hull City is 1-1. Stoke City, a lot of people's favourites to win the league. Stoke City 1, Brentford 0. Brentford have just equalised as I said that. Yeah, Stoke City 1, Brentford 1, and Swansea 1, Preston 0. Don't forget Derby County versus Leeds United is the evening game, which is live on Sky Sports. Should be a great game. 5:30.
Your man Basuma then...
And Forest have just scored, I've been told.
Your man Basuma then
goals going in the Championship. That is now Forest 1, Reading 0. There'll be a very gutted Alex Emery in the gallery. He's a big Reading fan. Sorry, M-Dog. Joe, chance of one of your games?
Yes, Basuma, Pato, your man there for Brighton, looking pretty fiery. He's kind of playing wide left a minute ago.
Yeah, he was standing there, wasn't he? Beat a couple of guys.
Beat a couple of guys, good effort. And Brighton have just turned it up a little bit, just turned it up a notch in the last 10 minutes. And Watford, obviously a 2-0 up, just got a little bit complacent, need to get their heads back in the game there. But, yeah, I think all of the games are pretty... There's not been a lot of chances the last 10 minutes, just settled down period. And I think Fulham need to get a goal fairly quickly because it's just dying out, that game, just fizzling a little bit.
On the topic of Basuma, who's everybody's bargain signing of the summer? Because I've heard I actually haven't heard as clear an answer on this. Last year, my pick was Mo Salah. Yours was Sergio Aurier. Lol. It
wasn't really a bargain pick, though, Mo Salah, was it? I mean,
it's all right. What price are we saying is bargain? What price?
For their market value.
Yeah, I mean, how much would Salah go for?
If you bought Lionel Messi
for over 100,
if you bought Lionel Messi for 80 mil, I'd say that's a bargain.
So when you say bargain now, you're talking about players that are undervalued in the market.
Yeah, players where you paid less than
definition of a bargain, isn't it?
Yeah.
What should be a bargain?
Do you remember as well, Danny Mills said it was Jermaine Defoe. That was a good one.
I think he'll have a good season.
Good job, Danny.
Yeah, if he stays fit, I think he'll be good for West Ham.
Great pick by Danny Mills.
I rate him highly. I rate Jack highly.
Okay. Jack Wilshere.
Jack Wilshere's your bargain buy.
But that's not my bargain buy, but I'm saying he will be a bargain. Let me
if you look
give
at
time
market value, I don't think Shaqiri is going to be one of Liverpool's best players, but I think the value that they got Shaqiri in at 13 million is a bargain buy.
I think that's fair.
Yeah, I think he will be impact.
He's not going to set the world alight, but for 13 mil.
He's below market value.
He knows how to press because he played under Pep at Bayern and Heinkes, and last season was involved in 15 league goals for the worst club in the league.
Exactly, yeah.
Pretty good.
Stoke was so reliant upon him as well.
So rubbish as well.
He's got massive legs. You know the size of Shaqiri's legs.
Pascal Gross actually was probably the bargain signing in the last summer, wasn't he? Pascal Gross for 2.5.
Who's your bargain buy then?
Incredible.
We're talking Shaqiri here. We're talking Jack Wilshere. Clinton says any others?
I'm trying to
Let me have a think. Come back to me.
I'm trying to think here.
Looks like Eden Hazard might be warming up.
Ricardo Pereira for under 20 mil. That was very good as well.
For Chelsea.
Woo! I mean, they obviously didn't pay anything for him, but Max Meyer to...
Yeah,
it was
unbelievable
so rated, wasn't it, a few years ago. Linked with Spurs many years.
Yeah.
Linked with Spurs for many years.
I don't think he's Spurs standard, to be honest with you.
But picking him up on a free is great.
No. It depends where he's going to play, though. He played as a 10 up until last season, and he was pretty poor. Admittedly, he was very young, but he never really showed any great chops there. Last season, Tedesco moves him into defensive midfield, and he had an absolutely fantastic season. So if they play him as a DM, he'll be fine, but I don't think they will, because they've got Milivojevic. So they're going to play him instead of Loftus-Cheek, in that advance role.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know if he'll be as good at it as Loftus-Cheek was, is my worry.
I'm trying to think of this. Yerry Mina's a good signing. I like the big centre-half at Everton. Oh, he's a beast. He'll be a... Man United should have gone and signed him.
It's huge.
That's who Man United
I feel like of all the players United were linked with, he was the most gettable.
Yeah,
we could have had him, but then they wanted massive agent fees. Yeah. And United...
See, these agents always ruin it. That's what I'm going to get into.
They probably walked through the door between United and Everton, and he probably asked for extra 15 mil for just because it's United, isn't it? Like if I was the agent and I walked through the door at United and they were desperate for a centre-back, I'd be going, I'll have a load of money if you want my client. Whereas at Everton, it was deadline day. He had no other option. Barcelona had to sell Yerry Mina this summer, had too many non-EU players in the squad, didn't have a choice but to let him go. So basically let the 3 worst players they had at the club join Everton.
But I also don't think Yerry Mina is what United need. United need like a commanding centre-back who's got like a lot of experience, like Toby Alderweireld, because they've been, since Vidic and Ferdinand retired, they haven't had that commanding voice at the back. Eric Bailly's 23, he's very rash.
They haven't had that partnership, have they? They've had some good individual centre-backs,
they haven't had someone
two.
to take control, though. I mean, to stand up and take control of that line. Like Toby Alderweireld would have done that. Harry Maguire, maybe to an extent, he's still quite young. But I think with Yerry Mina, I don't think they would have had that. Well,
that was the first time yesterday that the United starting centre-back had played together, started in the league, Joe, was it?
Yeah, or maybe the second. Yeah,
it's the first time they started, which is incredible for a club like United not to have a regular 2 that start.
So would you have started Lindelof ahead of Smalling? Would you have done that?
Yeah, Smalling horrendous.
I think he's already says horrendous.
I probably would have started. I would have started Jones ahead of them, both of them, to be honest.
Really?
I you have to give him a shot, but Lindelof got shocked about last night.
Yeah, Lindelof.
Yeah, but Iheanacho's a handful, man. I like it.
I think. Yeah, but I mean, in terms of getting bodied by him.
Yeah, true. He did.
He got bodied a couple of times.
But you know what? Like, he's going to need a run of games, isn't he? Like, these are the 2 guys that Mourinho wanted. These are the guys Mourinho wanted. So he needs to make it work with them. Mourinho has whined all along about not having good enough personnel.
What is he doing?
But he didn't play the guy he spent 30 mil on last year. So Mourinho needs to just shut up and like figure out a way to sort his defence using tactics, which he was completely incapable of doing last season. He spent all year saying, I need better fullbacks. You know, City have gone and spent 130 mil or whatever it was on fullbacks. And then he went and got one this summer who was a youth player from Porto. Could be good, but at the same time, he's just whining and whining.
He does love
had enough of it. It's stupid.
Eden Hazard's on the pitch for Chelsea, and his next goal scorer, you can get him at 8-1 with Sky Bet. 8-1 for Hazard, next goal scorer.
He's going to have such a good season.
The 18 plus full terms and conditions
such a good player.
Such a good season Eden Hazard's going to have.
That ball's like it's glued
What a
to
World
his
Cup
feet.
as well. He was unbelievable with the World Cup, Eden Hazard.
It really... I think Belgium, if it got to the final, would have won.
I think that semi-final was always... That was the final, really. Whoever had won that, I think, nailed on to win that.
But France were just... Nobody really touched France the whole tournament.
But they also looked like they didn't get out of 4th gear at times as well.
They looked poor at the start of the tournament.
It felt quite a boring system as well. You know, playing Giroud was quite dull.
It was the same in the Euros 2016 as well. They got to the final without looking like they were trying that hard.
He didn't have a shot, did he, Giroud?
I think he had...
He didn't have a shot on
shots,
target,
and they were all off target.
Giroud didn't have a shot on target during the World Cup, and he featured in every single game.
Yeah, I would never have played.
That's a presence and a handful. That's what I mean.
The thing is, he did bring. That's
what they say.
When they play him as a target man, they did look better. Mbappe looked better playing in that role when Giroud was playing.
I think he gets the best out of the best players, like the Griezmanns.
But like for a number 9, for a number 9 to win the World Cup without having a shot on target,
they didn't play Giroud, and that was the weakest they were in that system.
Yeah.
So I think he does offer something.
But I think that's a Deschamps problem, really.
That's pretty kind.
Joe, let's have an update around the ground.
Not too much going on, Smithy, I have to be honest. Fulham just hit the roof of the net, but nothing else has really happened so far. Games are fizzling out a little bit, to be totally honest. So could do with a couple of goals just to liven them up, because there's not that long left. How long have we got left in these games? About 15 minutes, something like that.
Hell of a ball.
That's because first game of the season is always tired when you're coming back from pre-season. It's always fizzles out last 10 or 15 minutes. That's when you have to,
Why is that, though? Because you think after pre-season, when fitness is such a huge part of it...
It's so different, competitive football, So pre-season friendlies, you get a lot out of them, but in these, when you know there's something on it, it's so different. It's a mental thing as well. Pedro's in there.
Chance for Chelsea. Pedro,
did I call the ding?
What a goal that is. Pedro with a dink. That is 3-0. Huddersfield find themselves 3-0 down at home to Chelsea. What a goal that is from Pedro.
I'm telling him to dink.
What happened? Somebody talk me through it, because I didn't see it. It wasn't on my screen.
Hazard again. Watch his break. Watch Hazard here.
We're just seeing a replay of it now.
Look at Hazard. See you later.
Gets free.
Hazard.
Defenders drift inside. Pedro's in miles of space. This is exactly what...
Two defenders go to him. Pedro just inside the box. Keeper commits and he dinks it over the keeper.
Exactly what Napoli did last season with Sarri. Like, whoever was playing on the right, in that case it was Callejon, would always get free on the side of the box, and he got 10 goals, 10 assists in the league last year. So Pedro could have a great season if he can stay fit.
Brilliant finish.
I mean, the defenders have just drifted in.
Fabulous finish.
Caught up pitch.
How good is Hazard?
He's
the start of that move, the beat and the two. And you always say when you get into them positions, pick the right pass. He always picks the right pass. 9 times out of 10, always picks the right ball. Maybe Morata would say he didn't because Morata was in as well.
Zaha's in, 2-0 Palace.
There you go. That's why we kept him. There you go.
Over. Wilf Zaha.
That's why we
gets
kept
his
him.
goal. Yeah. Ball's played in around the back. Zaha just uses his pace, gets in behind the centre-halves, takes it around the keeper, slots it into an open net. Game over. Palace versus Fulham. It's
Joe, you're saying how well Fulham are playing. I'm impressed you've been with Fulham. They're 2-0 down at home to Crystal Palace.
Really susceptible on the break. Fulham have dominated the game, but Palace, as you'll see from this goal, is a real breakaway move. One touch in there, and then the ball will be played really heavy in behind, and Zaha's pace is just superb.
Do you know who that? You know who's played that ball? That is a young kid, 18, 19 year old, Wan-Bissaka, and he is going to be a hell of a player.
And I was just about to talk about Bissaka. He's had a brilliant game up against Ryan Sessegnon. He's kept Sessegnon quiet all game, so good to get him assist. And Wilf Zaha, on the score sheet already. He's going to have another big season by the looks of it for Palace. 2-0. Game over.
Yeah, very good finish from Wilf Zaha.
That could be the best business.
Wheels coming off.
You think that result will be done. Palace looking very comfortable.
But then come January, I think.
So the only real game left is Bournemouth versus Cardiff. Still 1-0 there, isn't it? And Wilson's missed a penalty, so you can expect something in the last 10 minutes from Cardiff, but all of the other games are effectively done and dusted now.
Yeah.
Let's get something from Social Corner. What's going on Twitter? Who's saying what?
Well, I mean, who's saying what?
Who's saying what?
In terms of the poll I put out between Wolves and Fulham, it's not even close. 76% think Wolves are going to finish higher than Fulham.
Wow.
I mean, I don't know if today's result is going to...
I think Wolves will finish higher, but I think Wolves will have a
Oh my God, what a run that was.
Great season. Because Wolves, for me, had a great squad anyway.
No, they did have a good squad, and they've added the Donker, the midfielder they brought in, and I'm looking forward to it.
Last season.
Giammattino.
They've got so many options. I think Wolves. I'd be amazed if Wolves didn't finish. I'm going to say top 12.
I said that. I think top 12.
So sorry, poll, Pete.
75% think Wolves.
75%
think Wolves are going to finish higher than Fulham, which I think is fair enough.
Interesting to know what that had been before this game. It might be impacting.
I still think it would have been Wolves heavy. I would have definitely gone Wolves finish higher than Fulham. Although Fulham have signed well on deadline day, I think you said earlier, it's been first side spent over 100 million when promoted. They're still lacking Premier League experience massively, aren't they? Even their most talented player, Ryan Sessegnon.
It's a good point, that. They're spending the money, but they're spending money on proven Premier League players. We talked about players, even the likes of Morata, who everyone thought would be class going into it. There is that bedding-in period when you come to the Premier League, isn't there?
Yeah, there's always a bedding-in period. And Wolves have bought a lot of Portuguese, and sometimes you always think, will it take time for all of them to gel? But I don't think, because of the manager, Nuno, I think he's a very good manager. But it will take, for these Fulham players, time to gel, I think. It will take them time to gel. But Jokanovic, I think they got the right manager. Both teams will be fine and have a very good season. I don't think any of those two teams will get relegated. But I do believe Cardiff will struggle. And it pains me to say that, because I actually do get on with Warnock now. But as we've been seeing in the game, they've hardly created anything, and all they create from Pat is like basically set pieces.
Long throw.
You can't do that in the Premier League. It's totally different ball game than the Championship.
0-0 Nantes versus Monaco, interestingly, 40 minutes gone, in case anyone is interested in that one.
Easy.
But goals galore in the Championship. We'll do a Championship round-up very soon. There are goals galore in that league. There's now Norwich City 2, West Brom 4 in that game. 6-goal thriller currently going on at Carrow Road. I think every game except 2, there have been goals in all games but 2. Any more from Social Corner?
Yeah, I'm just reading through the comments now. George Miller has wrote, "It's my birthday. It would be great if you could give me a shout-out. Happy birthday, George."
There we go. Wasn't that a buzzing shout-out from Peter Norman?
Such enthusiasm.
You wouldn't get a better shout-out.
Brilliant. Another comment from I Hate YouTube Now.
OK.
Asks...
Is he watching on YouTube or Facebook?
No, that's his name. I Hate YouTube Now. Who is your surprise package player for the season?
Surprise package?
Is that similar? Kind of like a dark horse player to overperform, I suppose?
What is like bargain surprise package players?
Well, I think it's more like a Mo Salah last season when he overperformed. Like, who do you think is going to overperform?
Regardless of price tag?
Yeah, I mean, just who do you think is going to bang this year that you don't necessarily expect to at the minute?
That's a difficult one, isn't it?
Guendouzi could for Arsenal in theory, because no one expected him to even be part of the first team. Who else could there be?
So I think
Hudson-Odoi, if he gets a run on the side.
I don't think he's going to get any game time, though, is he?
Yeah,
well, again,
I don't think he'll get any.
If he gets in the side.
Do you think Lucas Moore will play?
I think Moore will have a good season for Spurs.
I think Richarlison could have a big season. Richarlison could have a big season.
How do you think Ruben Neves will get on in the Premier League?
Felipe
absolutely ripped it up in the Championship.
It'll be good. Neves will be class. I like him.
Scored one of the goals of the season as well. Do you think he'll...
Premier League football suits Ruben Neves. As you get time and space and you get to pick passes in and around there, where in the Championship it's 100 miles an hour and they're on top of you.
I think he's
still dominated that.
He's a lot more experienced than people give him credit for. He was the youngest captain in Champions League history at Porto.
Yeah.
You know, so I think it was a bit of a shock move going down to the Championship, but I think he's going to be
last season as well.
really good in Premier
goal
League this season. Oh, unbelievable.
Flicked it up and volleyed it.
Absolutely ridiculous.
But I tried it about 100 times.
Did you? You can see Jamie Carragher and Gary Neville also.
I've seen that. You see Carragher's celebration.
Yeah, not bad, was it?
It weren't bad, to be fair. How many takes was that? Don't tell me that was live.
I'll go Richarlison for I think he's going to overperform. I think Richarlison last season...
the Everton boy, you think?
Yeah, I think he tailed off a little bit towards the back end of last season. I don't think he actually scored a goal after Christmas, but that wasn't helped by the fact that Watford are really chop and change in their manager situation. Obviously, he did really well under Marco Silva pre-Christmas. Marco Silva's obviously a massive fan because he's taken him with him and paid big bucks to take him with him to Everton. I actually think he could have a massive future. I don't think he's going to be at Everton for very long. I think he might get a massive Champions League club coming for him fairly soon. Young, Brazilian. I think he's not only good with his feet, he's actually surprisingly good in the air, can play wide,
really
can play
you think he's going to play through the middle?
I actually think he might play as a 9 for Everton. I don't know whether Marco Silva is going to back Tosin. I think he might start with Tosin, but as the season progresses, he'll use Bernard, Walcott and Richarlison as a fairly fluid front three.
I like the boy Lookman, though, as well. I think he's a very good player, but I don't think
he's going to be at the club at the end of the summer.
You don't think so?
No, I'd be surprised if he doesn't go back to Leipzig.
At 35 mil, he's worth 35 mil. That's what they're pricing him at.
I mean, Leipzig... that's unbelievable by Wilf Zaha. But yeah, I think if Leipzig can get him, they will try and get him back.
Yeah, and outside of the Premier League, there are some interesting players to be looked at as well. I think there's a guy called Moussa Barrow who plays for Atalanta in Italy. I think he's 19 years old, and he got limited minutes. And actually, it reminds me of when Kane got limited minutes in that one season that Tim Sherwood was in charge. You know, got limited minutes at the end of the season. Huge shot numbers, huge creative numbers, huge dribble numbers. He's really, really young, playing on a good side in Atalanta. I think that if he plays more this season, he could be really, really good. And I don't know. I guess Celta Vigo is still good. Real Betis, they'll have a good campaign. So you're looking at guys like Lobotka. I don't know how Betis will move on from Fabian Ruiz to William Carvalho, but these kind of players who went on a free, you know, William Carvalho, Gerson Martins on a free to Atletico Madrid, those guys could have a really good season.
Ousmane Dembele is going to have a really good season.
Yeah, he's going to be incredible.
He obviously got injured fairly early doors, didn't he?
Tore
his quad. Yeah. He'll have a top gravy season.
He's a sensational player.
Good player.
Unbelievable player. Yeah.
But just look, sometimes when you were watching him last year at Barcelona, it's another one that was struggling, coming back from his injury, and also confidence being positive. I think, but I always think that about most players. When you go to Barcelona, you always think you have to pass the ball to Messi.
Sure.
So you don't go show your true ability because he's the main man, and you think, if I don't pass it to him, I'm in big trouble here.
Coutinho will also do bits this season.
What about Morata?
Coutinho's a player.
Morata. People seem to think Morata won't have a good season. I think Morata will get. I'll put a little bit of money on Morata getting over, I'd say, 18 Premier League goals this season.
Wow. Oh,
I really would. I really would.
Yeah, I can't see that.
I've had a bet with him. I'm going to take his money. I'm not doing it again anymore.
Can't do it twice.
Joe, 87 minutes into most of the games, coming into injury time now.
Watford have got a chance now.
Update of the scores around the grounds.
Yeah, no change so far. The only game that's really in contention is the Bournemouth one. But Watford have actually surprised me a little bit today. Watford have been much better than I thought they were going to be. We obviously all kind of talked about them as being relegation candidates. Been really surprised by how good Pereira's looked. They've just brought Troy Deeney in onto the field. I think Watford have been potentially the surprise package of this Saturday afternoon fixtures because I didn't expect them to produce anything this season really.
OK, yeah, updates. Bournemouth 1-0, as you quite rightly say. That is the only one that is still fairly open. 1-0 against Cardiff. About the 88th, 89th minute in that game. Palace 2-0 up at Fulham. That game is done and dusted after Zaha scored in the 79th minute. Chelsea lead 3-0 at Huddersfield. And N'Golo Kante, Jorginho and Pedro Jorginho from the penalty spot. Watford 2-0 against Brighton. Pereira with both goals. Pato, let's talk about Chelsea's. We've been obviously our feature game of the day is Huddersfield-Chelsea. A few Chelsea new signings playing. What have you made of how they've played in their first game?
It looks like it's been pretty easy for Jorginho. You know, they went up pretty early on, and so he's been able to play at walking pace for the majority of the game, and that's kind of what he does really well. Kante looks very fresh for a guy who we thought would be still kind of figuring coming back from the World Cup.
Pretty much,
but yeah, I mean, I still wouldn't say that this is a terribly accurate picture of what we'd expect Sarri's Chelsea to be. But you know what? If we said that it might take time for them to gel at the beginning of the season, time for players to bed in, if they're winning 3-0 in their first game before those guys have bedded in and everyone's back and fit, then they're going to be a frightening prospect this season.
Big double save at Fulham, Joe?
Yeah, it was. It was actually a Ryan Sessegnon header, I believe, at the back post. This is the first time I've seen the replay now, but I think that's Ryan Sessegnon who gets up, heads it just over Wan-Bissaka. It's a good save. It's not an unbelievable save. And then Palace, as they have been all afternoon, playing on the counter-attack. You see Wilf Zaha, bottom right here.
So much space, isn't it?
All they're doing is playing on the counter-attack against Fulham. And they've let Fulham have the ball and then use Wilf Zaha's pace, and then he just gets shown the back door. But Palace be absolutely delighted to win this 2-0. I expected a decent season from Palace. I actually think they've got a nice squad. I think Roy Hodgson's going to be happy. 2-0 Bournemouth, though. That wraps the game up. Callum Wilson gets his goal after missing the penalty. 2-0, game over. Cardiff have been dreadful in that one. So Bournemouth, they'll be delighted. Eddie Howe gets an easy 3 points, but then Warnock's moaned to the fourth official already, like you said, Morrison.
I told you, didn't I, mate?
Shock.
Shock. There he is.
Game over, yeah. Pretty much all of the games done and dusted now. 2-0 Bournemouth. What can you say? Easy stuff.
And you've got to replay the goal here, Joe. Here it is.
Their easiest game of the season. Nice one to start with.
Very, very nice game to start with. It's good work by the Bournemouth right-back. Comes inside, cuts it back.
Good goal.
Tap in for Callum Wilson.
Poor defending, though.
Very poor defending. Very soft goal to concede if you're Cardiff. I'm sure Warnock will be absolutely hammering his team for that one in the change room at full time. But yeah, that's pretty much all of the games done and dusted. Kippers in custard. There you go, a bit of rhyming.
Thank you very much, Joe. Let's do a quick round-up of the Championship because there are goals galore in the Championship. Aston Villa obviously narrowly missing out on promotion in the playoff final to Fulham are 2-2 against Wigan now. Blackburn Rovers is 0-0 against Millwall, so that's one of the few 0-0s that are going on. I think there's only 2 0-0s currently in the Championship. That is one of them. Bolton Wanderers, Desmond, that is 2-2 against Bristol City. Middlesbrough 1-0 up against Birmingham City. Game of the day at Carrow Road. They're in the 92nd minute and it's Norwich City 3, West Bromwich Albion 4. What a game that is. Nottingham Forest lead 1-0 at Reading. Queen's Park Rangers trail 2-1 at home to Sheffield United. Rotherham Ipswich is a bore 0-0, no score draw as things stand. Sheffield Wednesday 1, Hull City 1, Stoke City 1, Brentford 1 and Swansea lead Preston 1-0. Don't forget Derby play Leeds United live on Sky at 5:30 this evening. Chelsea have won. It's all over. Chelsea 3, Huddersfield 0. Disappointing start of Huddersfield, Clinton.
Yeah, massively disappointing. In the Premier League, you have to win your home games. And listen, Chelsea game was always going to be a tough game, but as soon as Chelsea went 1-0 up, that was it. Chelsea, as I said earlier on, that they were in second gear. There's loads to come from Chelsea, but it's good signs for Chelsea under Sarri. They look, as Pat said earlier, they look really good. N'Golo Kante, he's like two players out there. He's ridiculous. The way he covers the ground and he makes other players around him look even better, the amount of running he does. They didn't even have Hazard starting today, so they've got a lot of talent. Even to come in, they've got Kovacic to come back in, so Chelsea will be there or thereabouts come the end of the season. As for Huddersfield, I think it's going to be a long, hard season.
John Smith Stadium, there's Kante, one of the goal scorers.
Worst stadium name in the league, possibly in Europe, Huddersfield. The John Smith Stadium.
Let us know what you think in the comment section below.
John Smith, whoever the brand director was who agreed that that was OK to name a stadium after that, you're an absolute joker. It's a shambles. The John Smith Stadium.
Don't hold back, Joe.
It's awful.
With your thoughts. There is David Wagner applauding fans. Disappointing day, as Clinton says. You've got to win your home games, but they were beaten, well and truly beaten 3-0 at home to Chelsea. Started quite good until the first goal, and then from the first goal onwards, it was all Chelsea.
It was all that miss. It was that miss from Mounier at 1-0. It was a massive miss for Huddersfield.
Big chance that was.
If that had gone in, then I think it would have been a different game.
You have to take your chances in the Premier League.
Yeah, especially against Chelsea.
Exactly.
Only minutes remaining in the last few games. Bournemouth 2-0 Cardiff. That is into the last minute of that game. 2-0 also Palace against Fulham as we come to the end. So our accumulator
Has lost. Well done, Peter. Thanks
Pete
very much.
Dorman has ruined the accumulator, barring a miracle in the last few minutes.
Idiot.
That's
Pete
a bit harsh.
Norman.
To me, that match had a draw written all over it.
Well, it doesn't. It has.
Doesn't. Watford are
victory.
absolutely torn apart.
All over it.
There are the scenes at Watford. Watford win 2-0.
Get Pereira in your fantasy team next week. Looks like he's going to have a good season.
Watford 2, Brighton 0. Good start.
Yeah,
at Vicarage Road.
Watford, as I said, surprisingly good today. I didn't think they'd be up to much this season, but much better than Brighton. Brighton really soft-centred today, and 2 wicked goals. Pereira's first, we have to say. We've all said it was an absolute barnstorm, wasn't it? Amazing volley. So not much you can do about that. But the second, a little bit easy at times to score against Brighton. And I think that was they were potentially victims of that last season as well. A little bit soft-centred, maybe fall asleep, lack of concentration every now and then. But Watford will be delighted by that. Gracia will be absolutely buzzing. First game of the season, 2-0 win. I thought he'd be one of the first managers to get the chop as well.
A few of the Brighton players just having words with the ref there, Joe. There's no contentious issues there, was there, in the game?
If there was, I wasn't concentrating, which is probably the more likely event. Probably the more likely event.
So 2-0. So we are only just 2 games to finish. That is Fulham Palace and the Bournemouth game. Bournemouth against Cardiff, but both those games.
Fulham will be really disappointed. Fulham will be really disappointed. They play some nice football, but Crystal Palace are playing really well on the counter-attack and have just exposed Fulham's maybe a little bit of inexperience at times, left themselves a little bit exposed, and that's just something you can't do against Wilf Zaha. Zaha's just really caused them problems all game on the counter-attack, full-time, obviously. I don't think Jokanovic will be really disappointed with that, though. I know he lost 2-0, but his team played nice football. It's the first game in the Premier League under him, and they're only going to get better, this Fulham side. They've got young, talented players, and they're playing really attractive football. So they won't be too disappointed at Wilf Zaha tearing apart on the counter-attack.
Yeah, these are the scenes at Craven Cottage. Full-time whistle has gone, as Joe said. Fulham lose their opening match of the Premier League season, 2-0 at home to Crystal Palace. Schlupp and Zaha, the goal scorers. So the only game still commencing is no longer commencing, should I say. Bournemouth have won their opening game at home to Cardiff City.
Yeah, Cardiff,
good start.
Rank. Cardiff absolutely rank under Neil Warnock.
Do we all think Cardiff are going to finish 20th then?
Yeah.
It could be, God, I think it's going to be a long, hard season.
They are only going to score goals from set pieces this season. They honestly don't have a goal scorer. They are lobbing the ball in the box.
He did say that, Neil Warnock, in press conferences building up to the game, he did say that he badly wanted a striker.
Doesn't have a goal
which
scorer.
Which he couldn't get. Does not have a goal scorer.
Zaha, for me, is not going to get the goals he needs to get.
In the comments, there's a lot of hate for Cardiff, and Macaroons has actually said, can Cardiff beat Derby County and become the worst Premier League side ever?
Oh, wow.
Big
shout.
That was
that was when they finished on 11 points, but now is a totally different era of Premier League to what it was back then.
Yeah,
when teams used to
I think at home, Cardiff will be all right at home with the crowd. They'll still lose a lot of games, but they'll get more than 11 points.
Yeah, they'll get more than 11 points. That was a freak season, wasn't it, for Derby County? A total freak season. And also, I think that the gap has closed over the last 5 to 10 years just because of pure spending power. They've been able to close the gap a little bit, and that's the reason Cardiff won't finish on 11 points like Derby did that season.
So very happy Eddie Howe and Bournemouth as they win their first game of the season. So let's recap our accumulator. As you say, we stuck money on through our mates at Sky Bet. This is what happened. Clinton predicted that Crystal Palace would beat Fulham. Clinton was right. Crystal Palace did beat Fulham. Patrick predicted that Bournemouth would beat Cardiff. Patrick was right. Bournemouth did beat Cardiff. I predicted that Chelsea would beat Huddersfield. I was right. Chelsea did beat Huddersfield. We're all on for the accumulator until Pete Dorman said with such confidence as he walked into Sky that there is no way this game won't be a draw, Smithy. Put all your money on it in the world. He was wrong as Watford won 2-0.
Can we just be adult about this and move on?
That was 28-1 before.
We don't need to bring this up.
With Sky Bet, and we lost the accumulator. So we're very sorry if any of you took our advice. Hope you had a good day betting. There were some tough games to call, though. Tough games to call in that. But a lot of us did all right.
Yeah, we
Except for Norman.
Except for Norman.
Looking at that, guys, Joe, you saw all 4 games. Who are you most impressed with of all the teams today?
Most impressed? Nobody really stood out. I think Fulham played nice football at times, but look a little bit inexperienced, just lacking somebody maybe just to put the foot on the ball at times and shore the back line up a little bit, just sat in front of there. At times, the midfield was quite exposed in terms of they all pressed up, quite high. I don't think Jean-Michel Seri quite has that role of being a box-to-box lockdown. He's quite close to Tom Cairney at times. And when he's so far up with Tom Cairney, it's quite easy to pass through them. And then when you get passed through with Zaha on the counter-attack, you get exposed. Watford, potentially, most impressive.
Yeah.
Just purely because I thought they were going to be utter turd this season. So I'm fairly happy that they're not. But Pereira obviously came in from Juventus. He signed directly from Juventus? Yeah. So obviously high caliber talent and spent a large majority of last season out on loan, so, out injured, sorry. So nice to have him back fit and 2 brilliant goals today.
Pato, talking about players, no individual players that you saw. Any individual players that you were most impressed with today?
Well, I was watching Chelsea Huddersfield, so I thought that Willian actually had a really, really good game, and Hazard, when he came on, looked extremely sharp. Brilliant. I mean, I really wish I could have seen a bit more of Basuma in the Brighton game, but it looks like they had a bit of a bad day at the office. So it's interesting that all the sides that won also kept clean sheets. So good defensive performances all round. Zaha, actually, every time I looked at the Palace Fulham game, was playing extremely well.
I was just about to say, every time I glance, I didn't see a lot of that game, but every time I glance, it counter-attack all the time.
It's just really
all through Zaha all the time.
It's really counter-attacking football, and that's obviously something that Roy Hodgson has identified going into this game, that Fulham are going to have a majority of possession. They're going to try and play nice, attractive football, but when they push the full-backs up and when they have Jean-Michel Seri very close to Tom Cairney, they can be exposed on the counter-attack. Will Zaha, Andros Townsend, just playing off Benteke, who... they were able to go direct to him, little touch off, and Zaha's at you one-on-one, you're dead. So, great tactics from Roy Hodgson today. He'll be delighted to come away with a 2-0 win.
Other players, Pereira, 2 goals for Watford. Fully expect him to be named man of the match in that game, Clinton. You think he'll have a good season?
Well, he should do it. He should have a good season. That should give him a vote of confidence. Scoring 2 goals, first game of the season, and there were 2 decent goals, very good finishes. The first one, in actual fact, weren't decent, was better than decent. It was an unbelievable strike. Yeah, Matt Ryan, we could say the goalkeeper could do better, but the technique's unreal. And then the second goal was a very composed finish. So, yeah, I think Pereira had a very good... But that's a good start for Watford, because I fancied them to go down. I fancied them to struggle this season, but they're going to prove me wrong. But I'm usually always wrong anyway, mate.
We're all usually wrong. It's a game of opinions, a game of football. It's surprises, particularly in the Premier League. It is impossible to predict. Talking about teams that we think will struggle then, we all seem to agree that Cardiff will struggle. Is there any hope at all for Cardiff?
No.
I just think, I know they say no, but I think Warnock, he is that type of guy who can get the best out of...
If anyone can, he can.
He's the one who can get it. But I think the Premier League's a different animal. It's a different breed. The Championship's so different. He's very good in the Champ, but the Premier League's it's a different animal. And games like that, Bournemouth, he should be going to Bournemouth at least trying to come away with a point. So he'll be disappointed. But Bournemouth are good.
I think you look at Cardiff squad and ask yourself who's going to make a difference, who's going to be that man to take the game by the scruff of the neck. There is no one in that team.
I can tell Clinton looks nervous already. That bet, he's already regretting the bet because he knows Warnock's not even making it till Christmas.
I'm sweating it. Now, to be fair, I think they need a number 9, as you said, who can score goals. In the Premier League, you need someone who can score you 12 to 15 goals. You've got half a chance when you're down there. They haven't got that at the moment. So it's going to be a struggle for them. It's
going to be a struggle. All right, we can cross live now to Olivia, who's down at South Bank for #TakeYourSeat. Olivia, what's going on down there?
Hope you guys in the studio have enjoyed the football. We've had a fab day here at the Take Your Seat event. We've seen the trophy, tested out VR. We've even attempted the Soccer AM Top Bin Challenge. But you guys can try it all over again tomorrow with the rest of the FD squad and the F2. So why don't you come down to South Bank to give it a go yourself?
Thank you very much, Olivia. Yeah, it's worth putting out #TakeYourSeat. Still going on tomorrow, all throughout the opening weekend of the Premier League season. Free entry as well. It is based on a first-come, first-served basis. Are you going to get down there and have a go at Soccer AM Top Bin?
Yeah, I'll have a go.
You liar, Clinton. You liar.
That's what I am. And I'll probably pull it in there second time.
Second time, obviously. I'm down there tomorrow. Are you down there tomorrow?
No.
I'm down there tomorrow.
Are you down there, yeah?
Yeah, I'm down there
tomorrow. Are you going to try it, Joe?
With Chris Hamill. I'll do it first time, Clint. So don't worry about that.
Film it, Joe.
Film it for me and send it.
I'll film it and I'll send it to you. I'll film it, I'll send it to you. Me putting it top bins first time.
We've got to do a quick round-up of the Championship because loads of goals in the Championship. Aston Villa scored a 97th minute, I believe, winner against Wigan. 3-2 win. Steve Bruce will be delighted with that against Wigan. The only goalless draw of the day, Blackburn Rovers Millwall, sounded like a bit of a dull game, 0-0. Bolton Wanderers, Bristol City, that ended 2-0. 2-2. Middlesbrough Birmingham City is still going on. They're in the 12th minute of injury time at the minute. That is currently 1-0 Middlesbrough. 12th minute of injury time. The match is still being played. Game of the day at Carrow Road. West Brom winning 4-3 away from home at Norwich City. Nottingham Forest beat Reading 1-0. Queen's Park Rangers losing 2-1 to Sheffield United. Still playing at Rotherham as they lead 1-0 against Ipswich Town. That one is in the 10th minute of injury time. Loads of injury time going on in the Championship. Sheffield Wednesday, Hull City 1-1 finish. Stoke City ended 1-1 against Brentford. And Swansea City beat Preston North End 1-0. 12 minutes of injury time. Middlesbrough versus Birmingham.
What's happened there?
Even Smithy don't know.
No, I don't know.
He's just guessing. He's just reading the scores out.
There must have been a bad injury.
I imagine there's been a bad injury.
Bad injury, yeah. Hopefully the players are right.
Right. Let's talk about tomorrow's games. Pato, big Arsenal fan, playing City tomorrow, the champions. What are your thoughts on that?
I think a draw would be the best outcome for us. Normally there are goals in Arsenal City games. Yeah, I don't know. I think that they won't be at full strength. Arsenal might be a little bit further along in their preparation, so maybe that'll even out the balance a little bit, and maybe we could hope for something like a 2-2 draw. That would be a good result, I think.
And City win for you?
Yeah, Man City win for me, obviously being a Tottenham fan. No, I'm only joking. All jokes aside, I think Arsenal will be all right. I think they'll do well this season because I like, Emery. I think he plays football the right way. And it'll be a change for the Arsenal fans to see a nice attacking football and not one dimension like how it was going under Arsene Wenger. But I do believe Man City, on their day, they can beat anyone. Even if they don't even have De Bruyne or Silva or Sterling, you saw them the other day in the Charity Shield. They were breathtaking with even good players like Jesus on the bench. So I can only probably see one winner in that game. But it'll be good for the Arsenal. I think it'll be a great atmosphere. I think loads of Arsenal fans will be there to see Emirates. So it will be a tight game, but I just think Man City will nick it.
Joe, going off what Pato said earlier, which I agree with, it's probably a good time for them to play City with the amount of players City had at the World Cup. They're not all going to play. Can you see any chance of an Arsenal win there?
I think it's the best time to play City. I actually think Arsenal might get a result out of the game.
Do you?
Yeah, I just think that this is probably the best time you're ever going to play City. If there's ever a chance to beat them, it's now. I don't know whether KDB is going to be back fit or not. Obviously, went pretty deep in the World Cup, didn't he? I think my one worry is that backline Arsenal not particularly happy with the business they did defensively over the summer. I know Pato kind of agrees. I think that they struggled to sign a centre-back in a similar way to Manchester United that actually improves the calibre of the starting back four. So I do think Aguero will score tomorrow. I'm expecting a high-scoring game. I also think Aubameyang's going to score. I think Manchester City might struggle to contain that forward line. And I think a lot of teams will. Lacazette, Aubameyang, Mkhitaryan, Mesut Ozil. I think you'll see an Arsenal goal tomorrow. So I'm going to go 2-1 Arsenal. Bit of a surprise.
2-1.
Big shout.
Another game, West Ham in action. West Ham done a lot of business, Pato. Can you see them doing anything this season?
I think West Ham will be pretty good this season. Actually, when I look at the teams outside of the top six who I think will have a good year, I think that West Ham are an interesting shout for potentially 7th. They've got a really good manager in Pellegrini, good signings all around the squad. The question is whether they have enough in defensive midfield to cover them, because really they're going to have to rely on Obiang there, and I'm not sure how good he actually is. The attack is now great. Arnautovic, Hernandez, Lanzini when he eventually comes back. They've got Wilshere in that deeper role, but most importantly, they've got Felipe Anderson. Felipe Anderson, I think, will be the best player outside the top six this season. He is a stunningly good player when he's fit. Last season, barely played in Italy and still got a goal or assist every pretty much 90 minutes that he played. That's unbelievable. And if he produces anything like that for them for West Ham, they'll have a very, very good year.
OK, let's get a few predictions then. Susan, are we all thinking Man City for the league?
Yeah, definitely.
Man City. I'm saying Clinton, do you say Man City?
Yeah, you're putting me on the spot here, but no, I don't.
Is it?
It's a Palace.
Palace, go.
I go Man City but I think Liverpool will run them really close, really, really close. I do believe that.
Man City.
Yeah, definitely. I'll go.
I find it hard to look past City.
OK. Joe?
Yeah, obviously Man City.
Man City, Golden Boot. Let's go through that. Who we think Golden Boot?
I've spoken about on a few Football Daily shows in the past. I think Sunday Vibes a couple of times. I'm going to go for Sergio Aguero. I think Sergio Aguero is going to have a wicked season this year. Just something about him in pre-season, not pre-season, sorry, in the Community Shield, just looked like him of like 2013. Just so sharp. So I'll go Sergio Aguero.
Pete, what are you saying?
I think perhaps Harry Kane again. His goal-scoring record in the Premier League is unbelievable. And he's just a guy who, past August, he just knows how to score. Like, you give him the ball, you just expect him to score those chances. Same with Aguero, but I think Harry Kane will edge him by a couple of goals.
Pato, what do you think?
Yeah, I'd be inclined to take Aubameyang or Kane over Aguero just because Aguero often gets injured so much. If he stayed fit all season, then sure, but I think Kane and Aubameyang are probably more likely to play pretty much every game and score at a similar rate. So overall, on balance, I don't know, Kane does not look fit at the moment, but I still think they'll be really consistent, so I'll go Harry Kane.
Yeah,
needs a goal in August, though, doesn't he, Harry Kane?
He needs a goal.
Never scores in August.
He doesn't look fit, though. He doesn't. Watching a bit of the game today, he didn't look fit. He didn't look sharp. He worked hard for the team, but you could never back against Harry Kane. He's been phenomenal, so I'll go for Harry Kane. But I think Aguero, he's right. He looks sharp. He looks like Aguero of years gone by, and he does look really sharp. So it's a hard one. Them two are the best for me. Them two are the best. Aubameyang is a very good striker, but he needs service. I don't know. Arsenal, I don't know how much they can deliver it on a regular basis, but he can score goals. I do like Aubameyang. I think, and like I said, I think the two of them together will be good, but I think Aguero or Kane. But I can't pick the two of them.
I'm, of course, going to say Harry Kane.
Obviously.
But, as you know, but I think he will be. I think as a number 9, he's proven it so many times again. How many times people said, no, he won't. He wins a Golden Boot after a Golden Boot, a World Cup Golden Boot. I think Aguero is a better all-round player, technically. If you watch him training, I think Aguero would be the best striker you'd see in training in terms of his all-round game. How he reads the game as well, Aguero is phenomenal. But I think goal-scoring, out-and-out goal-scorer, there's no one better than Harry Kane. And he does need to get fully fit, I agree with that, but I think he will win the Golden Boot. Interestingly, that none of us said Mo Salah.
No, but he's not going to produce 40 goals again, is it?
That was a freak season. I mean, I think he's going to have a good season, but nowhere near as good a season as he did last year.
It just come to my head. I believe he
forgot about him.
We talk about number 9s. I don't even class him as an out-and-out striker, but I think he'll have another great season again.
Yeah, but a great season for Mo Salah doesn't have to be 40 goals.
No, it can
Mo Salah can
But he won the Golden Boot, is my point, and none of us said you think he'll win the Golden Boot this time around.
Well, I'd be surprised.
I think they'll share it at Liverpool a lot.
I think they'll
share it around.
I think what you might see is that
21,
Sadio
22.
Mane or Roberto Firmino's output increase because teams are going to go, right, we've got to shut Mo Salah down, which gives the extra 5 yards for Sadio Mane or Bobby Firmino. And I think you probably see Sadio Mane get probably 5 to 10 more goals than he got last season because of it.
Pete, before we head off, just final word from social. What are people saying on social media?
There's a lot of love for Chelsea about Sarri, professional first performance. A lot of love for Jorginho and Kante in their performances, and Hazard, impact player coming off the bench, did well even though we went very deep in the World Cup.
Yeah, worth pointing out Chelsea as well. Kante as well, played every game, played another brilliant game. Has a lot of the World Cup players over the weekend featured, actually, for Spurs, United, Chelsea. I was surprised at how many of the World Cup players featured. That is all we have time for. Thank you very much for joining us on the Football Social with Sky, but we'll be back, of course, next week. Big thanks to Clinton Morrison. Thanks, mate. Did you enjoy it?
Thanks for having me. Yeah, I loved it. Funny, the best ever. Great.
I don't know if that's sarcasm or not.
No, it was
did you enjoy it as much as Clinton Morrison enjoyed it?
Yeah, wasn't too bad. I thought he was good. I thought Joe was good. Norman was okay. You were fine.
Thank you very much.
I love all of you. I think you were all great. I love all of you. I'll be back if I'm welcome back.
Man. Big thanks to Joe as well and to Pete as well. Don't forget to join us next week. We'll be live every Saturday for the rest of the season with the Football Social with Sky. Thanks for joining us. Have a good weekend. Bye-bye.